All right. Are we live? Yeah, I think we're live. I don't see myself, but boom, there we are. Hey, what's up everybody? We are coming to you live with a live version or live episode of Movie Time. In this week's episode, it's the Oscars this weekend. So we're going to be going through our annual tradition of filling out our Oscar ballots. Blake and I were going to be doing that live for all of you and your viewing pleasure. And then we're just going to talk about what we expect, the predictions, all that good stuff. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite snack. You know what it is. Well, I don't know if you have time to grab your favorite snack if you're watching live, but if you're watching this on the replay, grab your favorite snack. You know what time it is. It's movie time coming at you right now. Hey, what's up, everybody? It is another week, a brand new episode of Movie Time. What's up, everyone? You got myself, LOWKEY Geek, Rene here, and my boy, my partner in crime, Blake the Wolf. What's going on, my brother?
Renee, I don't know if you can tell, I am paler than usual. I've been losing weight. I've been in full movie watching binge mode, trying to watch all the nominees before Sunday. I am not okay. I'm assuming this is a wellness check. It's good to see you, buddy.
Yes,
Thank
good
you
to
for
see you
reaching
too.
out.
Oh no, I really appreciate it. I'm glad I could do so in such a public forum. So just to make sure that you are
Wait,
all
wait,
well and
what?
good.
We're live? Are we on the
Oh, did I
I
forget to
thought you were
tell
just
you?
reaching out because of all my cries for help. Please, I'm on my fifth short documentary. Please call me. I'm not okay. Uh,
Unbelievable.
Good to hear from you, buddy. But okay, we're
Yeah.
live. Cool.
Yes,
Awesome.
we are
Let's do
live.
this.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. As you can see, we are still new to the whole live scenario and all that kind of stuff like that. We had some technical difficulties, hence why we're 46 minutes late. But hey, shit happens, right? So it is what it is. But we're here now. That's the most important thing is that we're here now and we're ready to talk about Oscar predictions and all that good stuff. So before we get into all that, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time a new video and episode is uploaded. But if you're wondering, what are we? Who are we? Well, we're Blake and Renee, and we are the Movie Bros, and we do this Movie Time movie review podcast every week where we talk about and bullshit about movies. Just two buddies hanging out and having a good time and all that stuff like that. So, also, just to let you guys and all of you know that we also have an audio version of this episode and this podcast. All you got to do is type in LOWKEY Geek on your podcast platform of choice where you can find this and many other stuff there for your listening pleasure. Our Spotify numbers have been growing, and I've actually been very, very happily surprised and pleased by that. So, to all of you listeners out there, thank you so much for your support. Lastly, if you are in a position to further help support the channel and help the channel grow, then definitely check out one of any of our affiliates found in the description of this episode. One being 80s Tees. I've been promoting them the last couple of weeks because they're one of my favorite companies. I get a lot of my pop culture tees from them and all that stuff like that. They are currently running a great promo right now where if you go to the link in the description below, you see I have posted a code for you for 30% off. But just click on that link and go to the website, and you'll see they are already running a huge promo. Buy one, get one 75% off. So that is a great deal. So it's only good for this weekend. So make sure you get your orders in there if you are planning to buy something for a loved one or something cool for yourself. The promotion, I believe, ends at midnight Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. So get yourself something cool, and by doing so, you're going to be supporting the channel with no additional cost to you. So, really, really good stuff. I actually just ordered some stuff myself. So, hopefully, I'll be getting those in the mail soon. And I'll be rocking those shirts live here on the channel. So, with all that out of the way, look at you looking all studious and stuff with your glasses. The one thing that we do every episode is like we like to play a little catch up. Not that Blake and I don't talk during the week, but we don't know who's watching what. I just found out Blake's been watching all the documentaries. So, what
Oh,
have you been watching? Anything worth mentioning and talking about right now?
yes, and we'll go through the nominees in a minute. So maybe some of the shorts I might mention what I've been upset by or nauseated by. There's all the very upsetting stuff, and then some that are just beautiful and enlightening. So I've kind of been all over the
Sure.
spectrum with those. The movie that's more of a movie time movie was the Ruse de Guerre.
Yeah,
If you
that's with
like Guy Ritchie
Aubrey
movies,
Plaza, right?
Aubrey Plaza had a pretty good cast overall. It's got the Guy
Mm,
Ritchie of it all. I'm a big Guy Ritchie fan. His uh, This is maybe middle to lower tier, to be honest.
okay.
But as a Guy Ritchie fan, I'm still happy to hear people try to be witty in British accents, doing shoot 'em up stuff in a cleverly crafted plot. So nothing to be mad about unless you want to have the next Snatch or Lock, Stock, and Smoking Barrels. Even in the last couple of years, The Gentleman, Wrath of Man, he's been on a little run. This might be a dip for the Guy Ritchie, maybe a little less Ritchie than we've had lately. But overall, not mad about it. It was if it's a fun popcorn flick at the very least.
How were
What about
the how
yeah?
were the performances and all that?
So Jason Statham did his exact thing that he always does, which
Okay.
maybe that's just who he is. He's phoning it in. I don't know. He's a professional. He did exactly what Jason Statham. I've never seen him really falter. I've seen him
Mm,
try to be funny or be given bad dialogue, but he's just doing the exact straight faced, super tough, taking himself too seriously thing, but looking like a badass the whole time. Did great. Aubrey Plaza, her character was more written for laughs that didn't land for me, but I also think that's kind of Aubrey Plaza's shtick, is she's
mhm.
not really trying to make you laugh. It's more deadpan kind of thing, and so the dialogue wasn't quite there, but there's a few times I go, "Ah, that was clever." I didn't properly laugh at that, which the character in a more successful version may have been pure comic relief all throughout the action movie. But
Yeah.
overall, I wasn't offended by it. It just wasn't. Josh Hartnett, great to see Josh Hartnett doing this kind of thing where he's playing a Josh Hartnett type, a celebrity being used in a big international crime scandal. He's essentially the honeypot, I guess, is the
Mm,
word, where the billionaire they're trying to get the codes from, whatever. We're not getting into plot here, but that was really fun. And then Hugh Grant, whatever he's doing in the last few years, God bless him. What he did in The Gentleman recently for Guy Ritchie was amazing. One of my favorite roles in a long time. This one's very similar, not quite as the dialogue wasn't quite there again on that character either. But I
mhm.
think Guy Ritchie also has another movie coming out soon. He's been
He
busy, he's just been kind of
does.
pumping them out. So
Yeah.
this might be more of the phone it in one, maybe the one for them, one for me kind of thing. I'm not sure, but I'm hoping this is going to be more of like a, step down to step up on the next one, if this was a one for them.
Right. Yeah, it's I'm curious about this movie only because it flew so much under the radar. There hardly any marketing or promotion for it. I didn't realize that this movie
Yep.
came out until I was looking on my, movie app because I was like buying tickets to see the movie I'm going to talk about in a minute. And I'm like, wait, this movie came out? Wait, this is a Guy Ritchie movie? What? Aubrey
Yeah.
Plaza's in it? Like you would think like Aubrey's having like a big thing right now because of her role
Yeah.
in White Lotus, and she's doing a lot of other things. And hardly ever heard about this movie at all. I
At
don't even
all.
know what the movie is about.
International crime, shoot 'em up kind of thing,
Okay.
spy action, double agent, whatever. That's the genre we're dealing with.
Yeah.
What's his? Because last year, in the last couple of years, he did The Gentleman, and then shortly after it was Wrath of Man, and same thing. I remember
Hmm.
just checking Showtimes, going Wrath of Man, Jason Statham. Let's see. Oh, that's a Guy Ritchie, really? I love that one. I know it
Yeah,
wasn't for everyone. It wasn't his top tier, but it was just a kind of one of those nonstop action, heart pumping guy on a mission, not stop until he accomplishes it. Jason Statham deal. That one was really good, but again, it's not his top tier Guy Ritchie
right.
stuff. So hopefully, my hope is the next one. I guess is it's completed and coming out this year. The Covenant. Is that that one, or is there another one? Does he have three? I don't know. Okay, I
Uh, let's see.
this man is busy. That's all I know.
No,
Just
he's.
looking at it.
I mean, he's got a lot of stuff for sure. And I know there's one coming out later this year. I just, yeah, I think is it the Covenant? Yeah, I think it is. The one with what's his name? Jake
Jake
Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. I
yeah.
mean,
That's the one. I mean, that's the one that they've been promoting a lot.
yeah.
Um, and I'm very curious as to how that movie turns out. Because I mean, it looks fascinating, the story in that movie, but that's why I question when this movie was actually filmed, because this could be one of those movies that they've had probably like in the bucket,
Sorry.
like just on the shelf for a very long time, and then they just decide to release it now because Aubrey's hot, and maybe they just need
Hmm.
something just to put out there to kind of ride off of that buzz, because I know sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Uh, what were we gonna say?
No, the last thing I was gonna say is that what was your final letterbox rating for this movie?
I think I just went 3.5 since it was solid blockbuster material. I may have gone up to four, but there was a couple clunk. I think I actually went three. So, but it was in that range.
Okay,
Regardless, just solid blockbuster popcorn stuff. If it's got Guy Ritchie's name on it, I'm going to go see it.
yeah,
And I remember feeling during it, and even I checked the reviews beforehand, and they were pretty spot on. It's essentially like this isn't going to be the Guy Ritchie movie that you go, oh hell yeah, everyone's got to go see this, drop everything. The way that I felt about The Gentleman a
yeah,
couple years ago, but still fun time at the cinema. Worst ways
nice.
to spend a couple hours.
I'm sure, and I will tell you, one of those ways that you could definitely
Oh
waste
no,
your time on. I saw 65 last night, the latest
no,
Adam
don't.
Driver sci-fi adventure flick and all that. Um,
It was
yeah, it was.
great.
Well,
Please
it
tell me
was.
you loved it.
It was one of those things where, so I didn't watch Scream 5, right? And I kind of fell off the whole Scream bandwagon after I believe 2, Scream 2. Just because like, I thought it was interesting. They were interesting movies, but I kind of just was not, into it, and not, I'm curious about it now, especially since I heard it's gotten really good. And I heard this new one is actually better than the fifth one, the last one. But I'm like, all right, it's gonna be either Scream 6, which I have no context because I didn't watch the last one, or 65. So I chose 65, and I think I chose pretty poorly. The movie
Oh
was
no,
pretty
oh
bland,
no.
to say the least. It was one of those sci-fi movies. It felt like I was really watching a B movie. And but it's weird because it's a B movie starring a really, really well established actor, up and coming, a huge, person and all that. And I can tell that he was really trying his best in this movie. Like he was really into it. I thought his acting was even better than his acting on Star Wars, which is saying a
Okay,
lot. But the
okay.
movie itself was just really, really bland. And it followed so many of the same typical sci-fi adventure tropes and all that, that at certain times it was kind of predictable, or you kind of knew what was going to happen. If you remember movies like Peter Jackson's King Kong, um, everything that they did or that they were going through involved a lot of creatures and invasive creatures. So there wasn't any moment where they had like good character building or anything like that. It was always them of avoiding this group of creatures or this group of dinosaurs, or if they're sleeping, something comes in and tries to attack them. It's like it's just always something happening, right? Which I guess is great if you're looking for like the adventure and action stuff. But even during those moments, it felt pretty bland. It wasn't like anything that was like, oh my god, like this is nuts, and I can't stop watching and all that stuff. I felt like a lot of the good moments were shown in the trailer, which is also unfortunate. But I also find it funny
Yeah.
that I question what their budget was, because every time there was a dinosaur on screen, it was either camouflaged by environment or it was in the dark. So I think they did this on purpose to kind of
Hmm.
save money on the budget
Hmm.
for the visual effects. When you did see them in daylight, it was either from a very long, far distance, or there's this one moment, and I'll go into spoilers because I don't think I'm going to be spoiling anything for anyone, because it's either you're going to watch it or you're not going to watch it. Where Adam Driver gets attacked by a dinosaur, and it just looked off. It just looked, because the dinosaur itself was very dark, and then when it was on the ground, I don't know if this was an editing mistake, but the head of the dinosaur was like off screen, but you only saw the body on screen. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is like a really bad editing choice. Like, why did they just, like, I'm looking at the dinosaur's leg instead of the entire full body and the head, and I'm like, what are they doing here? So it's unfortunate. I like the premise of the movie, and again, I are you planning to watch this movie at all?
Not anymore, Renee. I'm a big enough Adam Driver fan,
Yeah.
but I also am not in love with the genre. So
Uh-huh.
sometimes I'll kind of TBD. A lot of celebrities will go into these types of
Sure.
movies, try it out, have some fun out there. The fact that he's going all in, I'm not surprised. I saw the dude on Broadway a few years ago. Man is intense, and he was doing that
Yeah.
every single night. I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's just kind of what he does
Hmm.
at this point. Um, I wasn't I wasn't dying to see it, and now I'm thinking I might skip it, unless someone's like, "No, you gotta watch it because of this reason," that I don't know.
Right.
Also, this just in, 65's Rotten Tomato score is a career worst for Adam Driver.
Whew, I am
So
not
you're not
surprised.
it seems like
Yeah.
you're not alone in this opinion. The only
Yeah.
you said there's the monster thing, which is a common motif in movies. My question is, was there a moment when we thought they were gonna get eaten by one thing and then a bigger thing came and ate that thing?
Of course there was. Of
Okay, I'm
course
just
there
making
was.
sure. If not, I might go see it because I'm like, well, they're innovating because every single if you're avatars,
Yeah.
Jurassic Parks, whenever you've got the big, and then they go, oh, he's not scared of us anymore. We win, and then they realize, oh, I should be scared of that thing. It's every time, dude.
Yeah.
And
No,
you're
I
telling me
mean,
that they're doing the tropes. I already know what trope they're doing.
yeah. It's all like, again, if you're familiar with the Jurassic Parks, if you're familiar with the what's that? Skull Island, Peter Jackson's King Kong, like when
Yeah,
they were on the
yeah.
island where Kong is, it's just inundated with a lot of animals and creatures, and everywhere they go there's always a new threat. And then they do the misdirection where they're being attacked by one thing, but then there's something bigger behind them or something else comes in. Every single trope that you are familiar with, this movie has it. So it made, like, again and again, I'm going to spoil this for all of you right now, but I really strongly feel that most of you are probably not going to care. But I'm just giving a heads up. Spoiler alert. If you want to be surprised watching this movie, then I'd skip this portion until I start waving my hands again and all that stuff like that. So when I wave my hands again, that means spoilers are done. So the one innovative thing that I do like about this movie that they don't hint at in the trailer is that when you watch the trailer, you feel like, oh, Adam Driver is flying in space and he accidentally travels back in time, right? And now he is, like, in the land of the dinosaurs. That's not exactly what's happening. What's happening is that he comes from a different universe, a different planet altogether, that is way advanced than we are, and he has to travel through space on a supply mission and ends up crash landing on Earth, but our Earth 65 million years ago. So he comes from a civilization that's well advanced and way like farther advanced than we are. And he just happens to crash land on our underdeveloped planet when, we were still in the Jurassic age and all that stuff like that. Here's a twist. He crash lands on our planet at that time, right the week when the asteroid's about to hit. So not only are they dealing with the threat of the dinosaurs, but they're also, dealing with the threat of this impending asteroid coming in to crash down on them. So that premise alone, I actually really thought was cool. It's the execution about everything else that was just like, really? Like you couldn't have done this better to make it more exciting or more intense or whatever. It's like a lot of things are very predictable. When you crash land and he's transporting, crew, of course all the crew's gonna die. Like we knew he was the only lone survivor except for this one girl. The girl doesn't even speak English, so they have that communication problem. It's basically your wolf and cub situation where he has to help transport this little kid to safety, and all that stuff. And then at the end, as they're about to escape, that's when they get attacked by the big giant dinosaurs, and the dinosaur that they encountered in the beginning came back looking for revenge and all that stuff. Like, I'm gonna get you suckers for like shooting me in the face. So it was just very tropey. And but again, it's unfortunate because the premise itself was actually really good. I like the twist on the story because I wasn't expecting it to be, oh, it's another universe that they're coming from, a far advanced civilization than ours at that time. There was no time travel or anything like that. So I thought that was kind of interesting and cool. But, if anything, I would say if you do end up watching this movie, this is like a good, like, bad movie night. If you're just in the mood for something really bad to throw up on the TV once it's streaming, if you want background noise and all that stuff, or if you just want to see Adam Driver give his all in a sci-fi epic adventure, then it may be worth checking out. But other than that, I wouldn't recommend this movie to anybody.
Rene, because of the spoilers, I'm waiting for you to wave your hands.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Spoilers are done.
Yeah,
so that's it. Yeah.
There's a chance I see this movie, so I just muted you for a long time, and then just kind of kept unmuting, being like, and you would say, and then at the end, and oh no, and just I'm gonna give the movie a shot of me possibly seeing it because once it's spoiled and bad reviews and not my genre, it's just not happening. So I trust that what you said was very entertaining, and this is my feedback where I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for telling me all of that, and for spoiling it because now, yeah. What was your favorite part of all that? Yeah, how did I don't have any follow-ups. I'm not interested in this movie at all. You already answered. My only question would be, how was Adam Driver?
Yeah.
If it was an acting study, like he's doing a one-man show level performance, maybe I'd go see it on that. But it doesn't even sound like it's worth it overall.
No, and like I said, like he definitely gave his all. I question why he decided to do a movie like this, but maybe he just wanted to try something different. Maybe he's preparing himself for if he were to be cast in another sci-fi epic or whatever. Could we see him in Dune 3? Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, it's unfortunate. All the bad ratings on Rotten Tomatoes is definitely well deserved, I think, and that's why I just ended up giving it 2 stars. And it sucks because it's the same rating that I gave Creed 3, and I think this movie was much worse than Creed 3. So
that's why your half star system doesn't add up at all. Doesn't make sense because you could have a 1.5 and a 2.5 at that point. This does not sound like a 2-star movie based on what you said, my friend.
I may be reconsidering in changing my Creed 3 score to 3. Yeah, because I took some
approach here for sure.
I took some time to think more about it, and maybe I just need to watch it again. But it is. Look, I watched the first Creed recently again this week. That's another movie
Mhm.
I rewatched. Holy shit,
Same.
that movie is just
Yep.
fucking so good. It's so well
Pound for
done.
pound.
Oh, it's like it's hard to compare that movie with 2 and 3 because it's night and day, really.
Yep. If you were gonna give it 2 stars, they would have called it Creed 2. It's Creed 3, you gotta give it I think that's how this works. I'm not sure why they even give it those numbers. The system doesn't make any sense to me. So 3 stars sounds good to me.
Sure.
This movie was so bad, you just started adjusting all of your other movie scores
Yeah,
better now
that's
that
it.
you
I
get to
just
this
like,
one. That's
yeah,
what level of movie quality we're talking about. Love that. Okay.
yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, let us know in the comments when you're watching live or after the fact. Is 65 a movie you're planning to watch, or are you happy that I spoiled it for you just now so that you don't have to watch it at all? Let us know in the comments because I'm definitely curious about that for sure. Yeah, but without further ado,
But before we look into the past, I'm also
yeah.
curious if there's anything else folks are excited about seeing. Let us know in the comments because we're about to get a rush of movies into the theaters, which
Oh
is
my goodness.
our
Yeah.
weekly schedule is about to get a lot more exciting than it has been since we've been in the early year, dumping all the old
Yeah.
stuff from last year that didn't make the cut and just trying to make a buck when the box office is dead. Things are about to get hot. I bought my John Wick 4 tickets earlier
Nice.
today. I'm buying my
Nice.
Mario tickets soon,
Yep.
etc. But things are about to get a little bit more interesting. So, but I just wanted to. The future looks good before we look into the past year.
For sure. It's nice because it actually feels like we are going to be getting a legit summer blockbuster season. And a lot of these movies, and I think mainly because of the fact that so many things were pushed off from previous years. I feel like they're all coming out now. It's going to be like this year and next year they're going to be completely insane. And I'm all for it, but it's definitely we're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about. Which will be there may be weeks where we're gonna have two movies to talk about, maybe. Um,
Barbie and Oppenheimer, I think, are the same day
is that
still,
are
which
they the
is
same
wild.
day?
It 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 might I might be off by a week, but my understanding is it is the exact. And then you have to ask the question, do I see one then the other? Yeah, they're the same day. Unless
Oh
they change
man.
it at some point, which might be smart, but you also could kind of say there's two types of people in the world. The people who see Barbie, the people, and they
Well,
might not have
yeah,
too much. I'm the kind of person who sees both. I know that
yeah,
I'm the kind of person. So I think you go. My gut says you go Oppenheimer, then Barbie for the palate cleanser.
right,
The problem is, I think Oppenheimer is a longer movie, one of those more
yeah,
intense. So there's also the possibility you just fall asleep in your car between the two movies,
right.
uh, and that I can't wait for that grueling evening at the movie theater.
It's yeah. I mean, it's Nolan, so we know we're expecting a long movie, a very intense movie. But it's good counter programming, right? Because you do have those people who are
Yep.
going to be into Oppenheimer or movies like that, and then you just want have people who would be more into Barbie, right? And I feel like there's going to be a curiosity factor with Barbie too, given that it's a main IP. A lot of girls love the Barbie franchise and women love the Barbie franchise, so it's definitely going to steer towards more of the female demographic. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what's going to happen between all of that. So,
Dudes who are into
um,
Barbie movies and women who are into nuclear weapons definitely sound off in the comments and let Renee know. I would love to hear from you all. I seriously am excited for both of those movies. Dude,
I
can't
am too.
wait. I feel like I'm not the only one. I know maybe it's a cinephile thing, really. Is anyone who's into movies, no matter what, Greta Gerwig and Christopher Nolan. I just did confirm same day, July 21st. We might need to go live that night, but even then, we're talking what a 9 hour emotional journey.
Oh my
By
God,
the time we stop recording, we'll play that one by ear.
that's
The
insane.
future
Yeah,
looks bright, my friend.
I like it. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's going to be busy, but it's a good busy, I think. And
Yeah.
it's going to be really, really fascinating to watch it all. So yeah, let us know what I mean. We are now weeks away from summer blockbuster season. But things, tend to come out early, right? And I think it's really, really going to pop off at the end of the month with John Wick coming out. John Wick is going to spearhead. But we are getting a whole bunch of stuff coming out. So let us know, what are you looking forward to in the next 3 to 4 months, because there's going to be a lot of stuff for sure. One thing you don't have to worry about is that you could just scratch 65 off your list if it was on there, because don't do it to yourself. Don't make the same bad choice that I made. I should have watched Scream 6 without knowing what happened in Scream 5. I'm sure I would have enjoyed that better. Anyway, all that out of the way, let's talk about Oscars and ballots and predictions and all that stuff, because this is exciting. Um, so for a recap, and to let all of you know who are watching us for the first time, I mean, the last time we did this, we definitely have a lot more subscribers to the channel than we did before. So I'm sure there's a lot of people who didn't watch our ballots last year. But what we do, and this is something that Blake and I used to do even before we started doing this, we would sit down. It usually took us like a full week to fill out our Oscar ballots, because we would just go back and forth. Blake has a tendency to fill multiple ones about, because he has his, these are my picks that I want to win. These are my predictions. And then this is, what was your third again?
Yeah, so it's my predictions, my picks, and then what the actual most correct answer is.
Right.
Because there's times I just have a bias and I'm aware of that. And I'm like, well,
Right.
technically, this is what they'll think. This is what I think. Technically, this is the one that did it best, but that's a third option.
Right. I only do one because I'm pretty much like a one and done kind of person. Plus, I don't want to have an option where I like change my mind last minute and all that. Unlike Blake, who you have to keep a very close eye on, because he has a tendency to be like, wait, no, I made this last minute change.
Every time. I can't help but overthink things, or as I call it, thinking. It doesn't
Right.
stop. And I go, oh, wait, right. The last time that this person was nominated, they didn't win because in 2008, there was the 14th movie in a row to a feat. And I'm listening to all these prognosticators and pundits and predictors right now. And it is so funny to me how in the
Yeah.
weeds folks can get on things
Oh
that
my God.
really, there's so many factors. I even thought about, like, someone could go, okay, here's all of the factors of this person's more likely to win because they've been nominated 5 times before. This person's more
Mhm.
likely to win because they're brand new and people are excited about them. There's all these factors that are the exact opposite. Someone might
Yeah.
get more of a sympathy vote because they're less likely to get the nomination. There's someone else who's a favorite, so they're less likely to get certain votes because folks want to now reward the person who's an underdog. And just at the end of the day, like, what are we doing when there's literal opposites that are drawing votes in, and then what percentage of the academy is taking in? It's just, the math would fall apart so quickly. That's why this is fun, though, because you could spend an endless amount of time thinking about it, or you could just phone it in. And there's times where Rene phones it in, and I spend endless time thinking about it, and Rene does better than me. And in fact, that's almost every time. So I'm sick of it. This is the year it ends. I took it very seriously and did even more thinking, which was my solution. I outsmarted myself so many times that there's no way that any of these are wrong. I have full confidence.
Yeah, like I have a feeling this is the year you might actually win, because this is the first, wait,
I'm
hold on,
going
because
100%.
because this is the first time I actually saw almost everything, whether it was by choice or just happenstance. Because in previous years there would be like movies who are nominated that I haven't had a chance to see, and I tell you that straight up. It's like, I haven't seen these, but from
Yep.
word on the street, I have a feeling this is going to win. Word on the street, this is going to win. All that stuff, and I usually tend to get those right, because I do follow a lot of the news and the rumor mills and all that stuff like that. This year, I think it's going to be a little different. So I won't be surprised if you pull off to be the runaway winner this time. But we'll see. We still do this
Why
because
would
it's a
you
lot of
seeing
fun.
more make you less likely to beat me? That's what I don't understand.
Because now it's going to be more about my own feelings and opinions, like in
Oh,
like
you're gonna let
getting
your
into it.
biases in. That's why you got to do 3 ballots,
Yeah.
my guy. That's, hear me
No,
out.
no, no, nah.
This is why.
Like, I like living on the edge. I like living on the edge, man, for sure.
I know you're gonna go full, like, well, I like this one better. It's the best one, so people know that. No,
Yeah.
if it's the best one, never vote for that one. If it's your personal favorite, it never wins. This year with the Everything Everywhere, we might have a big exception,
Yeah.
or when you and I go live, it'll be the most look on my face
Oh
you'll
my
have ever
god.
seen, where I'll just be dead inside. Watch. I can't even say, like, there's a bunch of these I wouldn't be that mad about, like A Triangle of Sadness, a Banshees, even Top Gun Maverick would be kind of fun if it won,
Oh,
even
I
though
would
you're
be
wrong saying it's the best movie of the year. I know you
yeah.
would. Shut up. But I'm just assuming it'll be Elvis in every single category, something like that. And Elvis, Fablemans, like a couple of these other ones where I'm just not hyped about the movie at all. I'm
Yeah.
sometimes mad about it. I'm just sitting there going, it might be that, but,
Uh
but everything everywhere's been doing so damn good, man. We might have a good night on camera. We'll see. I'm excited.
it's gonna be fun, and it's gonna be interesting because I don't know if you've read the recent reports about the anonymous voters and what the Academy voters and what they were nominating and what they put on their ballots. So read some art. Did you read some of that stuff or did you hear about some of that stuff?
My only issue is those are anecdotal, and there's so
Sure.
many people in the academy now.
Yeah.
Those don't real people read too much into those,
It's
but
like a
sometimes
1%
they'll
of
give
it.
you
Yeah.
some insight. Less, but
Yeah.
sometimes people will give you insight into. They'll explain why they voted a certain way, and that can
Right.
be interesting because you go, "I didn't even realize someone might." Like, there's people a couple years ago saying, "I wouldn't vote for Parasite because subtitles," and you're going,
Right.
"What? There's a
Yeah.
member of the Academy who doesn't watch movies with subtitle? What?" Like, that
Yeah.
shit'll blow your mind for sure. What did you? But seriously, sometimes they're insightful or at
Yeah.
least interesting. What did you see?
I think one of the more common things that I saw, which I found to be very surprising, was they wouldn't vote for Kate Blanchett because they just didn't like her character at all. Her character
Hmm,
was unlikable.
hmm,
So because of
hmm,
that, they would not vote for her in Best Actress,
hmm.
which I found fascinating because I'm like, it doesn't matter if you like the character or not. If you didn't like the character, that means she did her
Yeah,
job because she is an unlikable character, and there's nuances
yeah.
there and all that stuff. So I found that was like a very common thread that I saw. Another one was for Best Picture. A lot of people were leaning more towards the fun time at the theater. So your Top Gun
Hmm.
Mavericks was being considered more. Fablemans was definitely being considered more. Because it
Elvis.
was like Elvis, yeah, Elvis too. So
Everything Everywhere is considered a fun time movie, or is it too heady for some folks and,
it
like, too
they
emotional?
said, yeah, they said it was too heady. It was a bit too much going
Okay.
on. Yeah, it was chaotic. I heard that being said a
There's
lot.
one thing I was hearing about where it was like somebody tried watching it 3 times and just couldn't get into it because it was so
Yeah,
weird. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
I
I
know.
mean, at the end of the day, what happens is these are human beings who have their own little I'm sure I have my own little biases or things that I don't know that are,
Hmm.
but a couple of those to me are just straight up wrong. The one where you don't like the character, so the actor did a bad job. That's not how it works at all.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think this person knows what acting is. Did they think that
No.
Kate Blanchett did those things, and they're like, I can't vote for them because were a bad person for the filming of that movie. Like, she didn't
Yeah.
go that method. I don't think that'd be
No.
terrifying.
No. Yeah. It's
It's really not.
again, it like you said, it's a good insight as to what some of the mindsets are. But yeah, this is just like a less than 1% amount of the voting body of the Academy. But it's just really fascinating to see that come out, and all that. And it explains also a lot in the past why certain things would get nominated or certain things would win over this or whatever the case is. Because sometimes the mindset is just off than what everyone else thinks and everything. So it'll be really
I
interesting to see.
assume I assume the reason why Green Book won a couple years ago is because just they're like, my favorite color is green. I'm gonna pick that movie, and it's just shit like that happening
I like books.
all over the place. I live in La La Land. Let me vote for that one.
Right. But yeah, so before we get into our predictions and all that stuff like that, this year we are doing something really interesting and we're gonna put something on the line where we're gonna have like a little bet,
What?
a little wager between the Blake and I.
Oh,
Um,
hell yeah!
yeah, so we figured what's something that is going to be fascinating to share with the audience. So, Blake actually had the idea of, well, if the loser has to be forced to watch something that is probably unbearable or whatever the case is. So I kind of agree with that, and I'm going to provide a couple of options here for you, Blake. So
Okay.
If I lose, I get to watch something that I haven't watched before that I know is going to be extremely painful. I looked through like some of like the worst movies to watch, and I chose two, and I'll give you the option as to what I'm going to be watching if I lose. Leonard Part 6, the Bill Cosby sci-fi movie from the 80s, or Ishtar. I have not seen any of those two movies. And these rank pretty high up on like some of the worst movies ever made. One is actually
Are you?
extremely controversial
Yeah.
because it has a person that is in the news for doing outrageous stuff. So I'm willing to put
Outrageous is
myself out
such a
there.
nice word for this situation, but okay. I understand you don't want to say the words out loud.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, so wait, are you asking me to choose between these two movies, or is that one choice is you watch something that inflicts pain upon you?
No, I'm going to watch one of those two movies and you're going to
Oh
pick which
gosh.
one I watch.
Option three, you watch one of the movies I've been begging you to watch for years that would be good and you would enjoy, but you've just been putting off, like a Jim Jarmusch situation, maybe even a marathon, if you will. One of them, maybe one of
But
them. I've been
but how
begging
is
every time it comes up.
but how is that a
It's a
punishment
punishment
though?
because you're not going to do it anyway, and this is the only way I could possibly force you to watch these movies that are in my top four list. I can't believe it's
Okay.
come to this.
You know what?
I'm asking you to be punished by a movie that I love so much that I know you
Okay.
love. I've got a
Okay.
few of them.
All right. Let's do that then. You select a movie that you've been wanting me to watch, and I'll select a movie that I've been wanting you to watch. If you lose, so
Your
give
movie's
me
going to be
give
the
me.
9-part Ken Burns baseball documentary that's, I believe, 18 hours long. Actually, there's a 10th part now, so
I
just heads
actually I
up.
actually watched 3 of those episodes. So
We had the whole VHS box set growing up, watched it so many times. Option four, hear me out. Everything Everywhere All at Once tattoo somewhere on my body. I'm down. I was gonna say my other favorite movie was Lydia Tarr. There's no way I'm doing that. Everything Everywhere. I'll go googly eye somewhere. I don't know. But no, yeah.
wow.
I like option three where we actually
Okay.
cover something the other we've also talked about doing this before is doing older movies and doing swaps and you watch this one, I'll watch that one, movies that we're passionate about. So
Yeah.
but if you want to, yeah, no, I'll inflict pain. I can definitely do that. That's fine. So
No, let's
we have a bet at least. The other person gets to pick a movie that the other person watches, and if it's a such a miserable, weird experience at home where you're watching uh Bill Cosby space spy movie, that's if that's what you want, that's fine.
well
I can entertain that.
I mean, it's something that would be interesting because I'm also thinking that we could do this like a live watch along, like when I do it and when you do it. Obviously,
Sure.
because of copyright
Why
reasons, we
not?
can't
What could
show
go
it
wrong?
on screen, but you could at least see our live reactions as we're watching these movies, right? So, um, your choice, my man. It's either I watch something
Okay.
terrible like what I presented, or you pick a movie that you've been wanting me to watch, and we'll do that.
Is it the same punishment for me, or do you have a unique punishment, or we haven't gotten that far yet?
I have one movie in mind that I want you to watch.
Is it a painful one? Because then I'm choosing painful for you for sure.
I want you to watch Midsommar.
I'll do that. That is going to be horrible. I will not sleep for a
I
couple nights
know.
afterward. It is a punishment, but I also want to enjoy the movies of Ari Aster. Is that right?
Yeah, Ari Aster and Florence
And
Pugh.
they have an and they have another one coming out this year. Not Florence Pugh, but Ari Aster, Walking
Yep.
Phoenix. So I accept. That is actually a precise. That is a great bet for me to take. Is the one that
Okay.
will mess me up. I will be scared little chicken boy because I don't do horror movies well. I don't take to it, and yet it would be a rewarding experience. So maybe I'll do one of the more similar, like slow Jim Jarmusch's for you, but it's still a beautiful, great, well reviewed, loved movie kind of thing. You just have to
Okay.
promise not to fall asleep. We can Clockwork Orange you if you need with toothpicks in the eyes, whatever their device they have there. So
That's fine. Do you want to name it now?
I'm not ready to go on record, but it's probably going to be one of my top 4 movies of all time, which is Only Lovers Left Alive, a movie I've seen maybe 30 plus times. And
Okay.
it's not too slow. That one you'll actually like. It's a vampire situation, so I could see you
Okay.
really enjoying it. So, yeah,
All right. Well, there you go. So that's the
we
wager
got
on the
business.
table. That's what's at stake right now. So definitely stay tuned to find out who wins. And again, just a quick reminder: we are going to be going live on Sunday, covering the Oscars. We'll have our full reactions and all that stuff, commentary. Join us. Maybe we'll do some games, whatever the case is. We'll figure it out. But we're going to be streaming live on Sunday, so definitely, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do so you won't miss out on that, and hit that notification bell so you get notified as soon as we go live and we start broadcasting and all that. So it's definitely going to be a fun night, especially seeing who wins our with our predictions. So let us go into that process right now. And you know what? Let's start. Why don't we start with you there, Blake? Um, Now the way we're going to do it, and I'm going to share this my screen real quick so that people know what we're looking at here. We are going off of the letterbox ballot. So if you wanted to join along, whether you're watching live or you're watching after the fact, just go to letterbox.com. The URL you could see right on the screen right here. And you could download this ballot for yourself, so you could fill out and all that. So the way we're approaching this is that we're going to go column by column, but we're going to start with the right side and we're going to move our way to the left, with Best Picture being the last one at the very bottom. So the first category we're going to go with is music, original song. So just to read who the nominees are, we have Applause, Tell It Like a Woman, Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick, Lift Me Up from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Not To by RRR, and This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once. So before we go into our choices and all that stuff like that, one thing we should probably talk about is performances. So it was announced already that Not To will be performed live on the show, which I think is going to steal the show for a lot of people. And it gives a lot of people a reason to actually watch, in my opinion, because I think everyone has been dying to see a live performance of this song. But it was also announced this week that Lady Gaga will not be performing Hold My Hand live because of scheduling reasons. I believe she's filming Joker 2 right now. So she won't be able to make it for the broadcast. So with that out of the way, Blake, what is your prediction here?
So I'm about to ask you how we're doing the points system, whereas are certain ones worth 3 to which we've done before. Just want to make sure. But first, I'm glad that we're using the letterbox ballot. Apparently the Oscars are doing a tie-in with Letterboxd this year, where
Oh,
they're
are they?
actually going to have, and I don't know to what degree or how much, but apparently there will be
Mm-hmm.
some letterboxed on screen where maybe they're doing reviews in person or letterbox
Wow,
scores, the format. I don't know, but I love that because it is now
that's awesome.
way past IMDb as the official movie platform. It is the full takeover mode to where now the machine has absorbed Letterboxd. I don't know. I'm curious to what degree, but there'll be some version of Letterboxd showing up there. And then they're also going full social this year. So they're going Facebook and TikTok. They'll have the speeches and Oscar
Wow.
moments on there immediately after they happen, supposedly.
Okay.
So at least we're going digital. Finally, look at us,
Amazing.
2023.
And
Yeah.
and at least they're finally ditching IMDb, because that site is just a hot mess,
Mm,
and I hate
mm.
going to that site. So
So I'm gonna ask you points. How do you want to do that?
what did we usually do? We usually did, like, we'll just do the default point method that we always did before. So that's basically
Okay. We
was it
can
one
settle that
point?
on Sunday then if we need to. But it's
Yeah,
all the
one.
smaller ones is 1 point, the
Yeah,
shorts, the yada yada.
yeah,
I think we always did 2 for like animated, documentary, international ones that are a little bigger, and then 3 points for actor, director, and picture, something like
yeah,
that. But one time we did 5 for picture, but we can settle that on Sunday. At
yeah.
least we know. I just want to make sure because if these shorts are, I mean, I would just have to rework my whole ballot real
Oh
quick
boy, here we
just
go.
based on you told me that thing earlier about Tar, and
Whew.
now I'm thinking, okay, what else does that say about the live action documentary short animated category? So
Uh,
Natsu is going to be what I put down for my prediction. It's the only one by RRR. There was enough hype and excitement about that movie. People disappointed it wasn't elsewhere. If
mhm,
that, let's just pretend they started off with that category, which they won't. They're going to do the performances throughout,
yeah,
and that didn't win, I'd walk off. I'm turning it off. The live feed will just be me sobbing in the corner. I will be properly disappointed. I know there's a shot David Byrne wins. I won't be super mad about that one.
mhm,
I know that there's a chance that the Gaga, Rihanna, worse, the Diane Warren song could win. Rihanna, I wouldn't be too mad about. There's a question of, does her Super Bowl performance help or hurt her chances at the Oscars? Lady Gaga, I'm not sure if it was, I'm guessing it was announced that she won't be there after voting closes,
yeah,
but either way, I think the correct answer here is not to. It's the definitely, and my other issue with the other songs is Rihanna's is a little less so, but not to is a key moment in that movie, and it
yeah,
adds to the plot, which like the Gaga one's just kind of thrown in at the end.
right,
Um, we need less of that for sure. The David Byrne one, that they actually did incorporate some of the movie into the song, lines
mhm,
of it, etc. But anyway, yeah.
yeah. No,
Whatever you got, bub.
yeah, I agree. For me, this was a clear cut answer for me. It was not do. Like there was no way I wasn't going to choose this because, like you said, it was a key moment in the film, but also it was just like the best, song that I've heard in movies all of last year. It was exciting, fun, entertaining, and plus it's a performance. Like it was a full on performance. While all of these other songs you'll hear like in the background, in the ending credits, and all that stuff. So yeah, they were part of the movies, but this was like really in the movie. It was such a huge part of it. So hands down for me, I would go not to for that. There was like no question about it. So
I think the actors who were in the movie are not performing at the Oscars, that it'll actually be the singer,
right.
but I'm not 100% sure, and, any surprise there, or even if it is even somewhat close to the energy in the movie, it's still gonna be
Mhm.
a highlight of the night no matter what.
Oh yeah, and it'll be an amazing surprise if the actors actually did show up and they start performing alongside with everybody. Get the director up there too, because he was in the he was one of the people in the ending performance as in the credits and all that. So it'll be just a lot of fun just to see him dance around. It'll be a blast.
You've
It's
been
probably going to be the
you and
best
I
moment.
are you and I are doing the choreography together live on, you've been doing your practice, right? You've been
Sure.
doing your reps?
Yeah. I've
I
been
am not
yeah.
kidding. Fun fact, a week ago, I put it on YouTube and put it on repeat, and literally, I'm not kidding. It was like a tutorial, and I at least got the part where they do the feet side to side. That part I've
Yeah.
got so far right now. Okay,
Nice.
we
All
covered
right.
original song.
So there you go.
LOWKEY.
Next category we have here is production design. So the nominees for production design: All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Babylon, Elvis, and The Fablemans. So I'm gonna go here. I'll go first in this category. Um, for me, this was pretty much a tie between Babylon and All Quiet on the Western Front. I think if I didn't see All Quiet a couple weeks ago, I probably would have leaned really heavily into Babylon. But after seeing All Quiet, I think that kind of swayed my vote. And I'm going to actually select All Quiet on the Western Front for this category. Um, the the technical achievements they did with that film is outstanding. And again, I understand now more so why this film was nominated as many times as it was. It was an amazing feat. Everything was very well done. Seeing some of the behind the scenes stuff that they did, whew, unbelievable what they were able to do with the way that they filmed everything, the way they filmed, at all, the editing, everything they put on the set. and all that. So very fascinating for me. And for me personally, that is the clear cut winner in this category. Uh, yeah. So all quiet for me.
Just to be clear, you're locked in now, right? Like nothing I say
Yeah.
will you'll change your answer. Right?
Nope.
Okay. That is
I'm
a
not you.
terrible choice. That
I'm
is
not you.
absolutely awful. That's not gonna win. I know that to be true. I'm locking in Babylon. I'm not fully confident. I think Elvis has a shot here, and I think this is one of those
Hmm.
early on. Whenever this is announced, we'll see which. These are the kind of awards we'll see which movie it might have more or less momentum than we thought. So
Yeah.
Babylon could go full 0 awards that night. It could get score, production design, etc. All Quiet could clean up in a bunch of these lower categories, especially. I'm going with Babylon for sure. So we'll have time to talk about the Elvises and Fablemans later, but definitely lock me in. That was what was special about that movie was the production design. Some of those set pieces were absolutely wild. Uh, yeah,
Okay.
the opening party scene, the movie, the where they're going, the all of the outdoor, they're going from the different movies all happening at the same time. That chaos,
Hmm.
the first talkie, and them trying to figure out how to work out sound on the set. I think that's what's special about that movie, and Hollywood's going to win an award it here. That's my gut.
But that's production design, though. Like you wouldn't include that in like sound or one of the other type of like technical
The
categories.
sound moment, I think that is interesting for that, but I'm talking about the actual set piece itself, like the
Sure.
actual way that they set that up, where you actually
Hmm.
have you're on a movie studio, but you're actually filming a movie studio, or in another case, the movie lot, or especially the one where they have to set up everything exactly right when they're shooting multiple movies, and it's the scene where we're introduced to Margot Robbie as his character as an actor in the movie. The big party scene at the beginning, that is pure production design.
Oh,
There's
well, sure.
obviously other
Yeah.
crafts going into it, but that's to me what's amazing about it. So that's the first impression you get from that movie, right? Is holy cow, this production design is intense and wild. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay. So locked in. Myself, All Quiet, and then Babylon for Blake. So moving on. Next category we have here is short film animated. So Blake, I'll kick it off to you as to who you're going to select. But let's do the nominees first here. So, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse, The Flying Sailor, Ice Merchants, My Year of Dicks, and an ostrich told me the world is fake, and I what's the whole full name again? And I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
believed it, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you got?
So, Boy, Mole, Fox, Horse is the smart money. You've got the Idris Elba, you've got J.J. Abrams producing it, but also it's a standout from these. It is different than the other ones. The other ones are more creative and might share votes more. Is it the one I think is best? No, I'd probably go for Ostrich or maybe My Year of Dicks for my personal favorite. There's a chance that I'm just off base here and everyone else is. Some folks are trying to get a little too clever with it by choosing another one, but so far it seems the smart money's on Boy, Mole, Fox, Horse.
So is that your pick?
That is what I'm predicting. That's not my pick. I'm not an Oscar voter. What are you asking me? You're asking me my prediction. It's the boy, fox, mole, horse, whatever.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the ballots that we're going through is these are your picks. So yes, they are
You're saying what I
predictions.
would vote
No,
to
no, 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 no,
win?
no, 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 no.
Okay. I'm just making sure. I'm just
Look,
making sure.
Mister.
Yeah.
Look,
This
Mister
is what I
Three
am picking
Sheets.
for them to vote for. Sure. This is what I am picking as my prediction for what will win on Oscar night. Yes, that is my pick.
All right, just checking your ballot.
I've
Yeah,
got three
okay,
ballots
we
here.
have it
I'm just
there.
trying to
No,
make
it's
sure
okay.
you're which ballot mine you're
We're only
talking
doing
about.
one. We're only doing one. All right. Um.
Speak for yourself.
All right. So for myself, my own personal pick would have been an ostrich told me the world is fake, and I believed it because just the way that they filmed it, the way that they put it together, it was so brilliant for me. I really enjoyed it a lot. However, you can't deny the star power behind The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse because, again, I feel like the majority of the voting body would probably lean towards that because, J.J. Abrams did this. Oh, Idris Elba is in this. I feel like they would lean more into that because it's familiarity, prestige, and all that stuff. So I too am gonna go with The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse because of that. But personally, I would love it if an ostrich told me the world won it because that deserves the attention there for sure.
Agreed.
All right, so that's locked in there. Next category is short film, live action. The nominees are An Irish Goodbye, Ivalu, Le Pupille, Night Ride, and The Red Suitcase. All right, Blake, I'm going to kick it off to you. What do you think?
I got pretty much nothing to go off of here. This is one of those that I'm going to see this weekend at one of the short film compilation screenings that we
Mhm.
have in New York City. I'm going with Chalk, An Irish Goodbye. I don't even know why. It's just An Irish Goodbye. I saw people predicting it. I saw some sites predicting it. I've
Yeah.
got very little to go off of here. So once I see him, maybe I'll regret this and I'll beg you to let me change it, and you'll say no. Lock it in. Irish Goodbye.
Well, that's why you have your two other ballots, so you could fiddle around with
But I
those,
was
right?
actually correct with my.
I-
Technically.
I'll never forget the one year where I looked at one of your sheets and it had so much scribbles and cross outs and you were just like changing your mind like constantly. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Not funny at
Um
all. It's harrowing. So glad you're enjoying it at least.
Oh, I love it. I haven't seen any of these. So this is going to be another one of my picks that I'm going off of what I've been reading and what I've been hearing. And like you, An Irish Goodbye. An Irish Goodbye is the one that I've been hearing people talk about more. It could be wrong, but that's my choice that I'm going with. So locked in for short film live action. Next category we
Smart to
have.
copy me on these because this is the category I normally kick your ass because I do research on it and you just go with your gut. So that's actually a really clever strategy to have me go first here. Okay.
No, it's fine. No strategy here. I probably would have ended up doing the same. But with that being said, next category is sound, the category I mentioned earlier. So the nominees we have here is All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Elvis, and Top Gun: Maverick. So for me, this was a little tough because I believe that all of these movies deserve to be nominated in this category. Top Gun has some great sound effects, especially with all the dog fighting and all that stuff like that. Elvis, because you have to have good sound because of his singing and environments and all that stuff like that. The Batman, again, very interesting environments and all that. Avatar, All Quiet, all that stuff. So I haven't really narrowed my selection 100%. So I'm going to be doing that right now. And for this, I'm actually going to go with Avatar: The Way of Water. I think if Cameron was going to win anything in this year's Oscars, it's definitely going to be more on the technical categories, which deservingly so. He puts a lot of work and effort in the technical aspects of his movies, and Avatar in itself is a huge technical achievement. Um, so I would give him sound for sure. Even though I think All Quiet is good, but I don't think All Quiet's sound was the thing that stood out the most, in my opinion. It's everything else. It's more visual and editing and all that stuff. So my choice will be Avatar: The Way of Water.
There are war movies that have done sound in a much more interesting
Yeah.
way than All
Hmm.
Quiet. The fact they're not innovating there, that's not the attention getter score, if anything, when you're talking about just the audio
Right.
happening in that movie.
Yeah.
I'm going Top Gun Maverick here. This to me is a box office type category
Hmm.
in this year in particular. There's a chance that Top Gun, Avatar, and in some ways Elvis and Batman kind of split those votes, and it goes All Quiet. That's my but lock it in. I'm putting in Top Gun Maverick. That'll get the most love in this category because that was intense. I think a lot of people saw it in movie theaters, which is going to be different. All Quiet. A lot of people have seen that on Netflix,
Mhm.
and the sound will be whatever's coming out of their speakers, and I don't know who's in charge of that.
Oh, I think Blake.
Maverick saw it in
Oh, there
theaters.
we go.
Yes. Did my sound cut out? We're definitely not winning the Oscar this year.
Yeah, yeah. You cut out, but you're back. So okay, and not a bad choice at all. Blake is locked in at Top Gun Mavi, and I am locked in at Avatar: Way of Water. Next category we have here is visual effects. Um, Nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and Top Gun Maverick. I'll go first here as well, since you went first the last previous categories. Um, for me in this category, it was mixed between Avatar, All Quiet, and Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick had some of the best uh, air fighting scenes I've ever seen in a very long time. It really harkened back to like the 80s movies and all that I grew up watching. It reminded me of the original Top Gun, but they did so many more stunts with planes. Again, the fact that Tom Cruise was actually in the damn plane as they were doing some of that stuff was fascinating. But if there was a category for like stunts, I think Top Gun Maverick would definitely be leading that more because you're involving real things, right? Visual effects is when you're actually using digital computers and all that stuff. So because of that, I would have to give this again to Avatar: The Way of Water because watching that, especially in the theater, was a jaw dropping experience as far as visual effects are concerned. I mean, everything just looked gorgeous, and you forget you're watching CG characters the whole time. Everything was just so well done, and it's one of those things where people, we've been hearing people talk bad about Cameron before the movie came out. People were not excited about it. Even myself, I was, doubting it. I was like, I don't get it. I don't get what the big deal is and all that. And then when I finally saw it, I was like, all right, I take everything I said back. This movie is phenomenal. It's fascinating. So but it was mainly particularly because of the visual effects. So because of that, I am giving it to Avatar: The Way of Water there.
I'm gonna go with Tar, The Way of the Conductor. The
That should be
scene
the new
when
name.
there's like a dog, but you're not sure if it's really a dog or it's in her head, and you were like, "Oh my god, that was so intense. That real?" Okay, I'm going Avatar. Also, The Way of the Water.
Nice.
That's what this movie is best at of anything. The water, the animals, the creatures. That's what part of what makes his movie so special. Uncle
Mm-hmm.
James, don't bet against him.
Yeah.
So if there was one category, it's got to be this one for Avatar. So I'm putting that in.
Nice. And just to show everyone really quick, he did put that in just to make sure. Uh,
Well, you
Blake
should.
has his thing pre-filled out, so I'm trying
I
not to show
reserve
it
the right to
all the
change
time. No, we're locking it in. We're locking it
these
in.
as we go, for the record.
We're having it on video. We're locking it in so that there's going to be no questions about it later on. Um, but yeah, so that's uh, Avatar for both of us in visual effects, right? So locked in. Next up, we have writing. We're going to be having two of Blake's favorite categories here, and that is adapted screenplay and original screenplay. So I'll make sure to have him lead up these two categories. But first, we'll talk about writing adapted screenplay. So the nominees we have here is All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, Living, Top Gun Maverick, and Women Talking. Now, before we go with our choices and all that, Blake, why don't you remind everybody what's the difference between adapted screenplay and original screenplay? Even though it sounds like it should be something that people will understand, but there's some
Sure.
nuances sometimes. But yeah, let you explain it for everybody.
Absolutely, I'd be glad to do so. Renee, thank you for putting me on the spot here.
You're welcome.
Here's and I'm actually gonna tangent a little bit on this one because there's a couple of these movies that, in my opinion, should be original instead of adapted. But essentially, adapted is if it's based on a pre-existing source material. Sometimes, like the movie Cocaine Bear, that's just a newspaper article, which I believe the original Top Gun was based on a magazine article of some kind. And then this new movie is now based on the movie that is based on the article. But one of the rules they have is sequels is another one to me that I don't like. I wish that was an original. So the reason you see Glass Onion here in adapted, it's confusing to some folks. That's because it's technically a sequel, and some of the characters. I I think that there is some room for nuance if some things are kind of based on pre-existing things. So you'll see a biopic. If it's based on a biography about Elvis or Ray Charles or whoever, then it would be adapted. If it's just based on their life, then it's not. So that's also to me one of those that's a little more nuanced. I think the real question should be, is it original or are you basing it off of something that already existed, the actual story itself? But eventually, it's going to get semantical either way. That's a rough. Uh, the the actual technical definition is easy to Google, but those are some rough guidelines when looking at them.
Cool.
Does
Awesome.
does that feel clear now, or is it worse?
I mean, it's clear to me, but I understand too why there is confusion as to why a certain movie is considered adapted. Like for example, and I'll go through the nominees and we could explain it a little bit more. We have All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, Living, Top Gun Maverick, and Women Talking. Now, some would ask, will question, well, why is Glass Onion on here? I don't believe there was a book written about it or anything like that. But I think it's because it's taken from a previous concept of Knives Out, which was already a movie that came out prior to that. So you're using the same characters from that previous movie or character. So it's being adapted from that original source material to turn it into a new movie. Same thing with Top Gun Maverick. You're taking characters from an original movie that was already previously done, and you're just using them in a new movie. So it's like adapted from a previous work of art like that. Same with All Quiet. It's a retelling of a movie
The
that came
others
out
are.
before and all that stuff. Yeah. So
Oh, so yeah, All Quiet's a novel. Women Talking is a
yeah,
novel,
yeah,
and then the other one is Living, which is just the film. Actually an Akira Kurosawa. It says the film Ikiru
right.
by Shinobu Hashimoto, Akira Kurosawa, and
Yeah,
Hideo Oguni. That's sometimes in these two, you'll just see like multiple layers of how things are adapted
right.
or a bunch of
Yeah,
names on there. And sometimes it's as simple as All Quiet on the Western Front. It's that book you read in high school.
right. Yeah. So now that that's been cleared and out of the way, Blake, what is your selection for adapted screenplay?
Sometimes you're going off the source material being very exciting and something everyone knows. So some folks are going with All Quiet on the Western Front. Sometimes you're doing how truthful they were to the adaptation, and sometimes you're doing did they add anything to it? How how interesting or successful of an adaptation was it? Some movies are kind of unfilmable, or some books are unfilmable. So like I think White Noise should have been here. It's not. I'm going with Women
I agree.
Talking as something that was a highly literary script, which I think those sometimes get honored here, and a movie that was under-recognized elsewhere. So this will be a chance to see it recognized. Another thing that happens a lot of times in the screenplay categories is the movie that folks want to have the chance to vote for elsewhere, but can't or won't. They'll vote for here. So like you'll
Mhm.
see a Quentin Tarantino or a Spike Lee um, even get a screenplay nomination. I think even Paul Thomas Anderson, that was how you see it a lot. When we saw Everything Everywhere, afterward, we're talking about the nominations. We're like, it'll probably just get a screenplay, and because that's the cool kid at the table. In this case, I think it's one where folks aren't going to give it any of the bigger awards, especially the ones it wasn't nominated for, but should have been, and it'll get it here. Plus, the adaptation was good, and it was a very talky movie, and I think it was successfully so. So this also, I think, would be my pick.
Nice. Yeah. For me, when the nominees were announced, I knew immediately what I was going to choose, and that was Women Talking. That was a movie that I remember when I watched it, I immediately wanted to talk to you about it because it was one of those movies that you and I knew immediately we would both like it. And when I remember when we talked about it in the previous episode, your interest was piqued even more so after I started reviewing it. And I wasn't sure what to expect from this movie personally. I just knew that um, Claire Foy's in it, and you got Rooney Mara, Jesse Buckley, who you and I can't talk highly enough about. So it's starring like some really great actresses today, some of whom are up and coming that I really wanted to see. But then when I heard about who was directing it and all that, I was like, okay, my interest is piqued more so. And then when I finally saw it, I was like, wow, this is a very well done movie and very important as far as message, especially for today. So, yeah, it wasn't recognized as much as I wish it would have been in other categories. It's surprising how this was recognized even more so than that other movie. The one with the was it the wine scene movie? I forget the name of it. She said,
She said,
um, yeah, because those were the two movies that I thought were very similar, but obviously one was taking place in a different period in a different area, while another one was really focused on the importance in an industry and in the limelight, in the spotlight, as far as like the news cycles and all that stuff like that. But still had very same impacts as far as message and the meaning behind it all. So immediately I knew Women Talking should be recognized in this category because it was just that strong of a movie for me. So that's my pick for adapted screenplay, Women Talking there. So it looks like we're both in agreement. Awesome.
book
Awesome
it
stuff. Locked
because it's based
in.
on a book.
Hey. So next category, again, we are sticking to writing, and this time it's original screenplay. So this is again to clarify to what we were explaining before. This is original works of art that is not tied to any previously published or otherwise content. So in the nominees here, we have The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. So Blake, what is your selection in this category?
Renee, I'm going for sure with the.
Drum roll,
I'm going to go with the
please.
Banshees of Inisherin. I think that the writing was very, very strong in that one. I think that Martin McDonagh has been shown love by the Academy before. This to me is his best screenplay he's ever done. If the question here is, do you want to go with the most original one or just the best screenplay, the most successful one, et cetera, and how you judge it? Based on the way they've awarded this in the past, I'm going to go with Banshees. It is original, absolutely, and it is just the kind of thing that they like. Not too dissimilar from what I was saying about Women Talking, where it's just a highly literary script. And I think doing that without the literary source material, in my opinion, it was very good at that. So overall, that's the strongest one there, I think. Plus, we'll get to these later, but I don't think it's going to get a lot of the bigger awards. So I think this will be, like we're talking about with Women Talking in the adapted category, one of those where they're going to show love here because it's not going to be shown love above this category. Sometimes this is kind of where a movie might peak on
Mm-hmm.
the highest award it can get if people don't think it's going to get the awards, director, actor, picture, etc.
Cool. I like your selection a lot, and the Banshees definitely is a unique, one of the more unique movies that we got last year. And when I watched it finally, I wasn't sure what to expect again, and I was pleasantly surprised by it all and all that. So I would definitely have leaned towards that for original screenplay. However, I'm going a little different on this one, and again, it's I'm going with something that I feel in any other year, I think it would have been recognized even more so. But this has been a very stacked year for a lot of things, especially in film is concerned. Um, so I feel like my choice is probably the only category it will ever be considered for everything else, and that's Triangle of Sadness. I'm
Hmm,
going with Triangle of Sadness on this
interesting.
one because again, it won the Palme d'Or last year. When I watched it, I was blown away with how
Yeah.
the movie was. And it was so different from what I've seen previously. The play on society, the play on social commentary, all that stuff. Again, when you talk about importance in today's kind of eye and today's news and all that, in the social conscious, I feel like this definitely plays heavily on a lot of that stuff. And I think that's why a lot of people really actually enjoyed this movie. When especially hearing the reaction in the crowd when I watched it. I mean, people were just eating this movie up left and right. And I feel like in today's voting academy, a movie like this would probably touch them a lot. Tough category because again, a lot of these movies here are movies that I really really loved last year. Tar, I loved. Everything Everywhere, I loved. The Banshees, I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, and I did. But Triangle of Sadness was the one that really stuck out for me. And if there was any category that this movie would be considered in heavily, more so above everything else, I think Triangle of Sadness is that for me. So I'm picking Triangle of Sadness there as my choice for original screenplay.
You're locked in?
I'm locked in.
For those playing along at home, currently Everything Everywhere All at Once is a minus 190 on the betting line, and Triangle of Sadness is in dead last at a plus 3,400. I just wanted to say that. I'm glad that Renee's confidence is there. If you're that confident, you should absolutely put money on this one and make $3,400 for betting $100. Let's just put the future of the show on this one because I believe in you and I know that you're definitely going to be probably kicking my ass on Sunday. I'm excited to watch Midsommar afterward, but this choice is brave as hell. So cheers to you. I'm glad you locked it
Yeah.
in.
Hey, go big or go home. That's what I always say. But yeah, I mean, well, it's interesting too because like if the betting odds are showing that everything is kind of like a front runner, it's kind of funny
Yeah.
how both of us didn't choose it.
So close. Banshees is in a close second. So I'll check the Vegas stuff, but I also think
Yeah,
there's ways that those numbers are skewed
yeah,
also. And if you just go pure chalk, also that's weak as hell. So I definitely try
right,
to read more into it than that. And there's a reason why folks are choosing one or the other because they think it's money, etc. So it definitely doesn't mean that it is technically the most likely just because it is
right.
a Vegas favorite at the exact same odds as they would put it at. Just that's the amount you'd be betting money to make money, to whatever degree. Anyway, all that to say, Banshees is a close second. And I do think it's the winner there. Personally, I might go Tar. This is a really good category.
Oh yeah,
It's another one where I think Fableman's, in my personal opinion, should be adapted because it's based on dude's real life, and he's the one writing the screenplay with Tony Kushner. Also, Tony Kushner being in these nominees for Fableman's, even though it's also with Spielberg, one of the best playwrights living and one of the best all time. That's the weakest movie here, in my opinion. That says a lot. This is a strong category. And I think that's why, to some degree, you might see things splitting votes in different ways. And I wouldn't be too surprised if any of these five won,
Mhm.
except Triangle of Sadness, because you're going to be dead wrong. But yeah.
Well, maybe I am, but again, I'm going. This is what my gut's saying, and I don't know. We'll see. I mean, but like you said, and I said this too, this is a very strong category. I mean, every one of these nominees deserve to be in this category. And if it was any other year, you could easily make an argument for any one of those. But yeah, I guess we'll see. That's one of the fun things about watching the Oscars live. Once it's all said and done. So let's move on. We are now progressing to the new column, the middle column here on the sheet. And I know it's going to be kind of weird because we're jumping from writing to directing, but it's fine. It's nothing wrong with that. Let's get this out of the way because I think this is also like an interesting category in itself. So, best directing or directing as a whole. The nominees we have here are Martin McDonagh for Banshees of Inisherin, the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. Blake, what say you in this category?
I think I've been going first lately. You want to take this one?
Oh yeah, you
And we
did. You
probably
went
have the
first the
same
last two.
one.
Yeah, you're right.
Surely.
You're right.
No,
Yeah.
it's fine. I can go first.
No,
No, okay, you'll go. Okay.
I'll go.
Sounds
I'll
fair.
go. That's fine. That's fair. So I also found this category to be extremely difficult for me. Because again, you and we were gushing over Everything Everywhere All at Once last year. Deservedly so. Gushing. Spewing, bleeding out of our orifices how much we loved this movie. And it, again, a lot of it had to do with the directing, to be honest. And then I saw Tar. And I was like, wow. Todd Field hadn't done a movie in, what is it, 12, 15 years or whatever the case is. And he comes back with this movie. And I'm just like, whoa, where did this come from? Brilliant performance, brilliant directing, editing, all that stuff. And then there's also a case you can make for Ruben for Triangle of Sadness, for everything I said before in the screenplay category.
You should double down on that bet for sure, actually, now that you mentioned it.
No, I'm not going to do that. At least I don't think I am. No.
Okay. You should.
My instinct says Steven Spielberg may win this category because prestige, legacy, all that stuff. We know that he's approaching his later years in life. And he's part of that movement these days where these directors are now making movies about themselves or an aspect about themselves in their earlier lives and all that. So the Academy could be in that kind of, nostalgic moment there. So something tells me Steven Spielberg would win this, but I'm actually going to go with the Daniels. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to win this category. I won't be surprised if we see a huge outing from Everything Everywhere, especially with all the momentum they've been getting recently for all the recent awards shows and programs that's been happening the last 2 to 3 weeks. So my choice here will be Everything Everywhere. How about you?
Are you done?
What say you?
This was such a roller
I'm done.
coaster. You went through. I saw you thinking through that one out loud. I should have gone first. Everything Everywhere All at Once is definitely going to be the winner here. They've been winning so much. They have so much momentum. It's such a beloved film at this point. The speeches they've been giving and making a stronger case. You're not necessarily wrong. A couple of these other ones, especially a Spielberg Lifetime Achievement. It's a movie about movies kind of thing, sure. But EEAAO, Everything Everywhere All at Once, I feel like is definitely the strong favorite. Smart choice.
Yeah. And I would even say that, if anything, Steven Spielberg may have even cemented his non-win in this category because he was praising Everything Everywhere All at Once recently. That and Top Gun Maverick. But we'll talk about that later when it comes to Best Picture. But yeah, so
at the end of the day, when they're winning DGA and PGAs, I believe it's those two. Those are the kind where it's like, okay, DGAs, is that going to go more Spielberg, something, and then they're winning the Producers Guild. It's at that point, at least maybe it was just the movie overall. I don't even know how those how they break down the
Mhm.
categories there, but you're just trying to look for the comp of at that award show, this is the most similar category. The fact that that movie's winning there is incredible, says a lot.
Yeah.
So that's where, to me, the movies like The Fablemans, even Top Gun, those are the kind of movies that should have done well there. And you have Steven Spielberg giving a speech about Tom Cruise at the PGAs, and still Everything Everywhere is the one eating dinner and dessert.
Yeah. For sure, definitely. All right, so we are both locked in for the Daniels in Everything Everywhere All at Once for directing. Next category we have here is documentary feature. So nominees are All That Breathes, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Fire of Love, A House Made of Splinters, and Navalny. So we started basically this episode about you and your documentary watch alongs and watches this whole week, this previous week, or this current week. So everything must be really fresh in your mind right now. So we'll have you lead off with this one.
Sure. So that said, it was the documentary shorts. At
Oh,
some point, it all
whatever.
blurs together. I think earlier I said documentary, animated, original, live action short, something like that. The documentary feature I've seen, it was House Made of Splinters and Beauty and Bloodshed. I still need to see. I watched All That Breathes today and saw Fire of Love and Navalny earlier a couple weeks ago. Something. So anyway, Navalny to me is the smartest choice. I'm torn. I think there's a few here that would not be a surprise. I'm actually really tempted to switch it over to Fire of Love, especially after last year Octopus Teacher won. Maybe it was 2 years ago, but either way, I think Navalny is the smart choice here. It is a topical movie that people are politically passionate about, which often in this category is going to be the most deciding factor. There's also the aspect where All That Breathes is similar to Octopus Teacher, where it's these brothers having special relationships with these birds in
Mhm.
India and trying to bring them back to life. This was the one I was watching today. I could see that one also winning. Um, Beauty and Bloodshed, also a topical modern political thing with a beloved artist, photographer, Nan Golden at the center of it. There's this one is to me one of the tougher categories that
Mhm.
not a lot of people are going to be too geeked about, and so low key, this is the one that to me the best debate of a lot of the categories. So all that to say, I'm gonna stick lock in. I really want to switch to Fire of Love. Let the record show that, but then lock in Navalny. Put it down.
Okay. So Navalny for Blake. Um, I only saw two of these. I almost watched All That Breeds a couple days ago, but I just ran out of time. I tried watching the other two, but they're not really available for streaming yet. I think unless you pay for them. Um, I will say this: when I watched Navalny, I thought it was definitely intriguing, and to see that journey that he went through during the whole time, and the fact that they were able to document it and all that. So, and you're right, with today's political climate, this is definitely something that's going to ring in true to a lot of people with, you know, what people are, following and what people are choosing to believe in and all that stuff like that, rooting for. However, is that too much to the point where there's so much bad things happening around us that maybe something a little bit more
Mm,
lighthearted and
mm,
heartwarming could
mm.
sway a person's opinion?
Did you
And
say
I
heartwarming?
I didn't mean that to come out that way.
Was I know I don't maybe you
No, I did
misunderstood
say it.
me. Is that a pun for what you're gonna choose?
No, that's the thing. I didn't mean it to be a pun if that's the case, but yeah, I am choosing Fire of Love.
Very heartwarming when the two lovers burn. Really, Renee. Oh, what a romantic, sweet date night movie. Don't you love the
Oh,
part where the natural disaster just wipes out the two main characters? It honestly is, and again, sorry, we're not trying to spoil anything. Is that what happens? Or are they just burned up by their passion for each other? Whatever. It
both.
was fine. It was good. I love Miranda July as a narrator. That was fun. That might be a personal favorite of these. I'm still got a couple more to see. Um, but yeah, it was beautiful. It was Fire and Love. So I think you might be right. I think
Look,
or I psyched you out by making you think that's what I would have picked, so that way you would pick that one. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out on Sunday.
I mean, for me, it's like I love it when documentaries really have great editing, great narration, and especially when it involves a subject that is so out there that I think none of us would have really understood that, oh, there are two people here that basically have a love for volcanoes and would like chase them like storm chasers. Like I remember when Twister came out, the whole storm chaser thing was the big thing that people were like reading up
Oh,
on
I'm from
and
Oklahoma.
following.
One of my close friends is a storm chaser. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, but for someone like me who's from New York, I never would have guessed that there are people who do that stuff. And I was like floored and fascinated with that whole thing. And I would watch endless videos of people doing that stuff. Even today, if I come across a YouTube video of someone getting so close to a tornado, I'm like, "Oh my god, that's nuts. How do people do that stuff?" This had the same effect on me when I saw Fire of Love. The fact that you had these two people that would literally get up close and personal with volcanoes, to the fact where they had to like build special protective outfits for themselves so that they won't get burnt, and even have trial and error test runs with them. It was like, all right, I'll go first in case I catch on fire, but you're going to be back here. I'm like, that is so insane to me. That's like insanity. But intertwined in all that is also a love story, the love that these two people shared, and the fact that they went out together doing something that they love. I found to be, yeah, no pun intended, heartwarming. And it really was. And I feel like something like that may sway a person's feelings and emotions when voting in this category. Because, yeah, even though Navalny is very important watch, it's a very important watch. It's good. You need to know this kind of stuff that's happening. And it's good to know what this person went through and how corrupt, even though we already know all the stuff that is happening there under Putin's rule and all that kind of stuff like that. It's nice to see it actually documented. But excuse me. But then,
There's a scene in the middle of that movie. There's
yeah,
a key scene, maybe 2/3 ish, where
yeah.
that phone call, one of the
Oh
best movie
yeah.
scenes I've seen as
Oh
far
yeah.
as intensity of action and me on the edge of my seat and then pumping my fist.
Yeah.
And it was just a few phone calls that were made. Absolutely stunning, worth the price of admission alone.
100%. But then it reminded me of a conversation that you and I had with our mutual friend, and the criticism he had about that particular scene. Him stating that it felt a little staged, right? And
I don't know what friend you're
unfortunately,
talking about, Renee, and I cannot admit or deny this at all. I wouldn't even begin to do so.
but I think for
I'm not
some
going on the
reason,
record about anything.
for
I've
some
learned from the
reason,
movie Navalny.
that thing stuck in my head, and I was overly criticizing that moment when it was happening because I
Let's
heard
talk
him say
afterward.
that.
That makes me so mad. I thought more about it and did some research. Whatever.
That's fine. We'll
If
we'll,
if
we'll
you're
skip
listening at
that.
home, don't get psyched out about that. It was a fun scene. It was good.
No,
Don't be too cynical, y'all.
I still enjoyed that moment because it was, again, the moment of the entire documentary, for sure. But I just do think that, again, I'm just going with my own feeling that I think Fire of Love will get the choice here, because like everything I just said. So yeah,
Vegas
so
has
that's
that
my
as the
choice
second
there.
most likely, so that might be one of those where you get a leg up on me if you get that one. So
We'll
good luck.
see. We shall see. So moving on to the next category here, we have documentary short subject. So the nominees are The Elephant Whisperers. How do you pronounce it? Halot?
Haul
Halot?
out, like a
Haul out.
haul out.
Oh, haul out.
Oh man, that was fun to watch you overthink.
Wow. I was having a brain aneurysm right now. I'm thinking it's like oh man,
Halibut,
okay. Halibut.
Halliburton.
Yeah.
How do you
How do you measure a year?
how
The
lewd do you measure a
Martha
year?
Mitchell
Yeah.
effect and Stranger at the Gate. All right. I'm going to go out on the record here and just say I didn't watch any of these. I don't know what any of these are about. I have not heard anything about any of these. So this is a category that I'm totally going blind in on. So I'm just going to put a vote in, and I know it's probably going to be
I
wrong.
love it when you do this. You don't even
Yeah.
research it.
Yeah. I didn't
So
do any
fun.
research on
It does
any of
make it more
this.
fun. Yeah. You're just playing Yahtzee over
Um,
here, just rolling the
yeah.
dice. What do you got, bud? What's your
So
gut say based on the 5 words that you have in front of you?
so I'm going
One of
with
which
strange.
might be haul out.
Yeah.
Halute.
I'm going with
Damn it, you
Stranger
chose a
at the
good
Gate.
one. Stop it.
So Stranger
Oh,
at
that
the Gate.
sucks. I always love it when you choose the one that just like there's no chance it's gonna win. You chose a good one. Okay. Good
All
on
right.
you, buddy.
Yeah.
Why are you
Yeah.
choosing that one? Give us like your detailed analysis based on the words stranger at the gate. Like actually, first question, what do you think it's about? Second, why did you choose that?
It's about a stranger at a certain gate. And I think
Okay,
it
what
probably
kind of
has
stranger? Like are we talking like an animal stranger, a planetary
no
stranger? We know it's a
I
documentary.
yeah,
A psychological stranger, or is the main character the stranger? What do you think it is?
I'm imagining like some guy or girl, who is just unwelcomed in a certain place or is exploring a
Stranger,
certain
okay.
place, a stranger, and
Like a gate, okay.
yeah, and they're forced with
Yeah.
a particular challenge. And totally wrong, and I'm sure I am. But
You're
it
really
does
going out on a limb here. It's
yeah, the
incredible.
title in its
Wow.
own just sounds extremely fascinating. And
The
I
screenplay
think
writes
yeah,
itself, y'all.
yeah. So I think that is why I chose it. That is my
It was fascinating? What's
finger to the
fascinating?
wind.
Like, why is that one
Blake,
more fascinating
I
than
think
the
you
one
don't
you
need to
didn't even know how
ask
to
any more
pronounce?
questions. I don't think you need to
Hold on,
ask
it's
any
such a
more
mystery.
questions.
I
So I
didn't know
think
your method.
now you could just
This
go
is
on to because you obviously spent all your time this week watching all of these, and I
cool,
did
yeah.
not. And I decided to
Yeah.
watch other things that made me happy. So, what is your choice after you've put yourself through the torture of watching all of these short documentary movies?
Why do you think that I'm giving you such a hard time right now? Because I have been punished. Stranger at the Gate is, I believe it's produced by, in some way, Malala is involved with this
Oh,
movie.
nice.
It was very intense and good, and it is available for free on YouTube. It's one of the New Yorker ones off memory. Essentially, the movie you picked is former military, white dude, has anti-Muslim kind of just deep in him, and then goes to a mosque to do some research because he's planning to blow it up, gets to know the folks there and becomes friends with them because they're very lovely and warming and warm to him, and show him what they're actually all about, and that these biases and notions that he'd been holding on to were unfounded, and he ends up becoming very close with him. It was a heartwarming, lovely story, passion that I'm person a topic that I'm personally passionate about. Very successful, in my opinion. At that, I'm not choosing the movie that you chose based on the title. I'm
No,
pretty
but
sure you.
after,
It's exactly what you said
but thank
what you thought
you.
it was about.
Yeah, thank you for explaining it to me. Now it really sounds like something I do want to watch. But I don't think I was
Yeah,
that far off. It is A Stranger at a Gate. So
perfect. Yep.
continue.
Honestly, it's not too long of a watch. A lot of that's one of my favorite things about these is if one of them sounds good, you can knock it out while you're making lunch, and then watch a full length during lunch. Like this is why I enjoy these categories a lot. And all I believe 4 of the 5 are available for free online right now. This will probably be the only movie I don't see of every single nominee by the time we meet up on Sunday, is going to be How Do You Measure a Year, because it's not available online. All the other ones are, and I'm not gonna buy the whole ticket and sit through the other 4 again at the theater just to watch How Do You Measure a Year, a 29-minute movie that is a montage of clips of a daughter growing up. I'm sorry. That's not how this works. Put your stuff online, y'all. Figure it out. I'll pay a couple bucks if you need me to. All that said, I'm going with Elephant Whispers. It's an animal documentary, kind of like the ones we were talking about. It's also got an environmental aspect to it. It's set in India, and it's a family caring for elephants. And there's a love story there, kind of a fire of love in that, like, there's a couple at the center of it in a nature documentary. We've seen those be successful before. The and then it's just a lovely story, beautifully shot. A lot of great slow mo, elephant splashing water in itself. Some genuine humor. I laughed a lot during it. Actually, great, great watch. So another one I would totally recommend. If you're into politics, Martha Mitchell Effect, it to me wasn't successful and wasn't. I'm very interested in the Nixon era and Watergate scandal. I did not enjoy Martha Mitchell Effect as a short film at all. And then Haul Out, it's a weird one. It's a dude who goes to the middle of nowhere, and it is an environmental movie, profoundly so. It's the one Leonardo DiCaprio would definitely vote for. It's the one saying we need to save the ice caps. But the idea is this guy goes to this piece of land where walruses or otters, walruses go, and there's 10,000 or so, maybe 100,000 walruses all just taking over. And it's this dude's just a day in his life, essentially. And then it shows how their conditions are getting worse. It was actually very entertaining. There's some wild visuals, just like because part of the problem is they stampede when there's not enough ice,
Mhm.
apparently. And then there were some really sad visuals too. A similar one there on the documentary features the All That Breathes, the dude's saving the birds in India. I'm going on, but just heads up in case you're interested in these. I think these shorts don't get enough love. At the end of the day, I'm going Elephant Whisper. Did I
Nice.
say yeah?
Yeah.
Elephant Whisperers. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Honestly, that was that was something I may have chosen because again, deals with animals. So it was in my
God,
mind
your method
between
is brilliant. Yeah. Thank
what
you
are
for
the Vegas
sharing this.
odds on
Everyone,
these?
copy this at home. Just pure gut. No information but titles and what the words are and maybe what they mean. Maybe how to
Yeah.
pronounce them, but not haul out. Clute.
That
I'm so
was
glad we're
great.
friends. Makes
Uh
this way more fun.
oh man. All right. So we're locked in. So that's Blake with the Elephant Whisperers and myself with Stranger at the Gate, which I promise I will watch before Sunday. So at least I know my pick and at least I know what I selected. Real quick before we continue, just a big shout out to everyone watching live. We had Laura who just quickly said hi. So just want to say hello to Laura who tuned in there.
Halut.
Hello. um but with that being said, let's move into our next
Barry
category.
A's in the comments blowing it up. I am curious if people have live feedback. Like, if you want to play along at home, let us know why Renee's picks are terrible and why mine are good.
Sure.
Please throw it in the
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah. And again, this is coming from someone who's lost every time we've done this. So we'll see what happens this year. But like
The year
I
before
did
you met me, I had a perfect ballot, and I know you're never going to believe me. I have receipts.
but we shall see. We shall see for sure. But I did start off by saying that I think this could be your year. But we'll see. Tune in on Sunday if you want to know and find out for sure. Next we go into film editing. Film editing. This is one of my favorite categories, which aren't like the big categories. And our nominees for film editing are The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. Since you have been going a lot recently, I will go first here. Um, this was another tough category for me personally because I feel like a lot of the movies here deserve to be in this category. However, I kind of boiled it down to two, and that was Everything Everywhere and Tar. Now, if you remember the conversation we had when I saw Tar and when you saw Tar and we talked about it together, one of the things I applauded the movie on was its film editing. I thought the editing was so well done. Putting her in the moments that she's in, kind of keeping some of things a mystery, as far as who is this secret lover that is she's getting, scrutinized over, and um, you know, is she really walking through this alley or is she not? Did she really see a dog or did she not? Is she really being chased? Is this all stuff in her mind playing with her? Her ability not to sleep. And again, if I'm spoiling anything, I don't think I am, because I'm being very vague about what I'm saying right now. Um, it was just very well edited, and it really puts you in that moment as you're watching everything. However, Everything Everywhere All at Once was also very well edited. And I think that's also what helped the movie be as successful as it is because of the editing in that movie. But I do feel like Everything Everywhere is going to win a lot of stuff at these Oscars. And even though there's something in me that says Everything Everywhere will win film editing here, I think I personally I would love to see Tar win this category, because of its editing, and because I don't think Tar has a decent shot in a lot of these categories, especially with a lot of the buzz and momentum that Everything Everywhere is getting. But that being said, I think my final choice in this category is going to be, drumroll please,
Can't wait. That's my drum
Everything
roll.
Everywhere All at Once. I'm sticking to
Okay,
Everything
same.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Great.
Again, it's just too strong. They just
I
have too
know.
much momentum going for itself. And personal choices aside, I think Everything Everywhere is gonna take this category. You have the same thing?
I was so hoping you were going to go Tar because again, that's one of those. It's the last uh choice on at Vegas. Literally same numbers plus 3,400 as
Yeah.
your other terrible choice earlier. But I definitely have Everything Everywhere. Top Gun is the two spot. I could see that happening if it has more Hollywood love, which sometimes happens at the Oscars. But when we left, I'm personally, I honestly think Tar or Everything Everywhere should be. I don't know why Banshees is here. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm honestly curious. I might look into that after this. Like, what about that editing was good? The humor. Sometimes comedy editing can be difficult. Maybe that there's something about that. But otherwise, to me, the editing wasn't. I don't know why it was special.
Yeah.
But all the other ones to me, they make sense. Elvis had a lot of momentum, and with you're doing a full song and showing Elvis and the camera's movement on him, and I remember it feeling like my heart was pounding, and he's taking that energy, which was kind of the
Hmm.
only thing Elvis really was doing was that pure charisma, ball of energy, couldn't take your eyes off him on Ed Sullivan kind of dude, and they recreated that and made it. Somebody was talking about the old clips of Elvis performing, the camera's not moving. There might be
Yeah.
2 or 3 cameras in that room. Somebody did a breakdown of how many cuts there are in just one of those songs. It was an incredible amount. That said, so I'm not too shocked if anything uh, other than Banshees, if any of those get it, but Everything Everywhere is a smart choice because it's a favorite in director and picture, which we'll get to in a second. I'm excited to go through those options.
Yeah.
But it's the overall favorite, and the editing was so damn good. Sometimes you'll see
Yeah.
a best picture not win here if its editing wasn't what was special about it, but that is one of the most special where we couldn't stop talking about that. Some of those
Yeah.
scenes, how the hell they even did it. So I think I got to go Everything Everywhere here.
Yeah.
If
No,
it
for
doesn't
sure.
win this one, we might be looking at a really rough end of the evening in the acting and picture and director categories. We'll see.
Well, that's a fascinating thing too, because even though Everything Everywhere has been sweeping all of the more recent awards,
Spin everything everywhere.
it's been everywhere all at once. But it could be one of those things where, yeah, they're doing so well everywhere else, but they may not do so well here. And I think, again, what will help dictate that are these smaller categories. If we don't hear their this movie announced in some of the earlier categories, then that could be a weird thing for the rest of the night. They're the googly eyes. What
You're gonna
are
see
they
your boy
doing?
Barry
Every
that
time
night. Yeah,
they're on
you got a lot
screen,
of
they're
that
doing
going
that.
on.
Yeah,
If you want
yeah.
my bona fides, I bought these at the night after watching this, and
I
then every time I
remember.
would go to the theater afterward, I'd go see it again. I saw it 4 times and would just hand these out in the theater.
Yeah, no, I remember.
I
Yeah,
will be
so
that'll be a weird night. That the kind of our whole I don't want our whole night to ride on one movie. If you let the Oscars ruin your night, they'll ruin your night every chance they get.
yeah,
So we'll see how it goes. I've got to at least like in my head be okay with other options winning. We'll,
no, for sure.
we'll
And I
get
and
through it.
I and again, I think we said this multiple times already. Like a lot of these categories are very stacked, and I think we're very happy with a lot of these choices.
It's a good movie
Uh,
here.
it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I mean, the box office won't tell you that, but I think as far as quality, it was definitely a really
Yep,
good year for quality, for sure.
yep.
Quick reminder to everyone who is watching live: don't forget, if you haven't done so yet, hit that like button. It doesn't take you a long time to do so. Just a quick second to do that. And if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button so that you could check us out when we broadcast the Oscars live and we react and commentate on that stuff. I shouldn't say we're broadcasting the Oscars live because we can't do that because it is it's copyrighted material that it belongs to ABC. Is it ABC?
Wow.
Who's airing the Oscars?
I think that it's ABC that goes haul out on the Oscars every year. I'm going to fall off for 1 second while you take this next one and start it off. I'll
Yeah,
be back by the time it's my.
yeah, no problem. So the next category we're going into is international feature film. International feature film, we have All Quiet on the Western Front. We have Argentina, 1985, Close, EO, and The Quiet Girl. Now, for myself, I've only seen, well, to be honest with you, I only saw one movie on this list. A lot of these movies, when I was really doing my catch up on all the nominees, a lot of these movies were not streaming on any service, or you had to actually pay for them. And that's still the case with some of these. However, All Quiet is on Netflix. So everyone who has Netflix has the ability to watch this movie. And it was something that I watched a couple of weeks ago. And, when we were doing our reactions live for the Oscar nominees and the nominations when they were announced, I was floored by the amount of categories that All Quiet on the Western Front was nominated for. Blake and I were just like, amazed with, oh my God, it's nominated for this category, that category, blah, blah, all this kind of stuff like that. We just kept hearing the name over and over again. And then it won some of the major awards at the Golden Globes, even though I don't really put a lot of precedence on that. And I choose not to follow that certain awards show. Then I finally watched it myself. My God, I know exactly why everyone is buzzing about that movie because it was so well done. I said it earlier. It's so well directed, so well edited. The technical achievement that they have accomplished in this movie for a German film that only has one major star that general audiences may recognize, and that's Daniel Bruhl. And even his role is very small. It was so impactful, and I really, really fell in love with that movie when I watched it. And I would definitely put it up there with one of the more better films from last year that I watched. Even though I watched it kind of late, I didn't watch it last year. I watched it just a couple of weeks ago. However, Argentina 1985 surprised some people. When that won an award, and a lot of people have been talking about Close lately too. But in my pick here for international feature film, I'm definitely going with All Quiet on the Western Front. Now I know there was some controversy that I'm pretty sure we already cleared up or should be clear to a lot of people by now. A lot of people, I think, at first were like, "Well, why wasn't RRR nominated in this category and all that?" I think this is old news by now, but just to recap real quick, India did not put RRR as their selection to be nominated for the Oscars, and I hate the fact that they have to do that instead of the Academy choosing and selecting who should be nominated or whatever the case is. But each of these films that were nominated, their countries that they resided in has to be put out there from that country, said country, because it's not just the film, but it's also the country that's being recognized here. So in previous Oscars, wait, hold on, you're muted, Blake. What were you saying?
Oh, sorry, it's actually the country that wins it. I'm curious, like,
Yeah,
where do you think that Argentina holds their awards? I don't know. Is there a cabinet somewhere? Like, I'm hoping the director takes it home. Maybe it just depends on the year
yeah,
and the country itself. I heard a case recently for why that's a good thing, which I still don't fully buy, but
hmm,
it rewards countries who invest in the films of their country. So you see sometimes in the credits, especially of international
sure,
movies, sponsored by the citizens tax for film and
yeah,
arts, things like that.
yeah,
I think that we could also give some kind of, like, with the Academy Museum, some kind of financial award to an org like that if your movie wins, but your country doesn't have to put that movie forward necessarily.
right,
There's another version where you still support in that way without also giving the country only one choice and they choose which movie. And there's a lot of times if a country falls out, if a director falls out of favor with that
sure,
group, and then you'll have someone like an Almodovar for Spain who gets put up a whole bunch, and then they're like, okay, this isn't his best year. We got to look at somebody else. That stuff to me is it just there's too much politics involved with it.
yeah. And that's one of the things that really turned me off about this particular category was the amount of politics
Yeah,
involved. And we said it in a previous episode too, where a lot of us, and I think the general populace was not aware of all the politics involved in the nominations and everything that involves this type of Oscar awards show and how people get nominated, how people win, and all that. A lot of that was brought to light because of this particular category, and because a lot of questions were raised. Why wasn't RRR nominated and all that stuff? And that really soured it for me a little bit. And you're right. I feel like there has to be other ways to do it. Maybe instead of having a country put one film, maybe have them do three, or like have them put like a selection so that the Academy themselves can choose who will be the ones nominated or who should be considered and all that. There has to be a different way to do this, and whatever, maybe something that will help entice countries to do more of that would be like, yeah, maybe the Academy will offer a grant or something so that more films or more things can be made in your respective country or within your movie industry or whatever the case is. But with all that being said, I think for me, hands down, All Quiet was the one thing that stood out for me in this category. What about you, Blake?
it's the smart choice. The other nominees aren't even close on the odds. Argentina 1985 had a moment where I thought it would be that, and then All Quiet just gets momentum and momentum and momentum. That said, for Netflix, I'm gonna go with the Netflix movie The Gray Man for international film. It was between that or Netflix's Hustle for me for movies from last year that were international.
Not
But no,
Blonde? You're not
obviously,
going with Blonde at all?
not international. I don't even know that doesn't
Okay.
even make sense. That's I think
You
every
know what?
moment in that movie
Just
is set
go
in
with it.
America, so
All right.
doesn't okay.
You know,
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
you're welcome.
that
Yeah.
that that let's give America that award. Actually, that's a great idea. Let's give an American company Netflix. No, but
I just want
seriously,
to hear them announce the winner, like, and the winner is the USA for
we said international. Are we not? Yeah, no. used to be called foreign film. The
It used to
rebranding of
be, yeah,
international, I think it's kind of
yeah,
interesting, and it does put an emphasis on the nation part of it, and it kind of destigmatizes with the foreign. But anyway, we've talked a lot about this category. All
yeah.
quiet. That's everyone's got to put. If you're doing predictions, put that on your ballot, unless you're just really trying to make a one big bet in Vegas and you're very drunk, then maybe put something else. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So all quiet, locked in for both of us there. All right. Next is makeup and hairstyling. So we have All Quiet on the Western Front, The Batman, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Elvis, and then The Whale. Uh, would you like to take this first?
Sure, taking an actual whale and making them look like Brendan Fraser in the movie The Whale,
Brilliant. It was brilliant.
unbelievable. Seeing them take a bat and make it look like a man that looked like Robert Pattinson in The Batman, incredible. There's a lot of great animal to human makeup, and that to me is people don't talk about those acting performances enough. How they even trained the bat to speak English and wear suit and tie, unbelievable there.
Oh
Same
yeah.
similar with the whale. Yeah, getting it to sit still for so long and sweat was incredible. End of the day, I got to put down Elvis, and it's to me, it's just the I don't agree with it necessarily, but it's the kind of movie that I. This is where I think that movie gets awarded. The Baz Luhrmann. It's a very visual movie, and they're doing the recreations of a real person, which sometimes is what takes the cake here. Plus doing the transformation, the different versions of Elvis and the Tom Hanks of it all. That's where to me it's harder to sell this one, but I've heard some people predicting this. It's a tough category. I think I got to go Elvis for what I think will win.
All right. Um, if there was a category uh about accents and tonations in someone's performance, then I think Elvis would definitely win in this category. The fact that he had Austin Butler, who pretty much transformed his entire speech pattern to mimic Elvis and can't seem to get out of it. He would definitely be the front runner in that category and
But
would
then
definitely
number
win.
two, Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah, but Tom Hanks doesn't still talk like that, does he?
No, what I'm saying is it was such a bizarre and unique choice that he made with the
Yeah.
accent work. This is one of the most accent heavy movies where just the
Oh yeah.
accents ended up becoming such a thing between
It's
Austin
become
Butler of
its
it
own.
all. But
It's become its own character, its own thing that we talk about.
how many times after the movie you're talking to someone and they go, "Fuck, was with Tom Hanks in that movie? That was weird." Um, how do you, what accent I think was supposed to be just generic? The terminal type of accent where he just does generic
Right.
international. Being Tom Hanks just having a little fun, practicing in the
Yeah.
mirror, being like, "I think I'll talk like this now." And
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah. So that being said, makeup and hairstyling, I think I'm sticking very close to exactly what the category states, and I think it was a phenomenal feat to have Brandon Fraser transform the way he did, and to make it pretty damn believable, And I think even though it's just one particular person in that film who had that major transformation, it was important to the film, and it was important to the overall storyline of the film. So because of that, I'm gonna go with The Whale for makeup and hairstyling. Because of that. So you
I
have,
before
yeah,
we
go
move
ahead.
on, I have to repeat what I said before that this "Don't Worry, Darling" should have been nominated here for the Harry Styles makeup award because damn, that dude looked just like Harry Styles.
It's amazing how much he
We can
looked
move
like.
on
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Yeah, it was incredible.
yeah.
Okay.
It was brilliant. Next category we have music original score. So this is not song, but this is soundtrack. So score, background music, all that stuff. You have All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Fablemans. Look, I'll take this first. How can you not give this to John Williams. The dude is over 90 years old. You know, he is a living legend. He may not be with us much longer. This may be his last category that he gets nominated in. I'm giving this to John Williams. I don't care. That's just it's a legacy thing, and I know we talked badly about legacy awards and all that stuff like that, but this is John Williams. This is a whole different thing. This is beyond legacy. This is just he is the soundtrack, dude. He is, and every movie that he's worked on, his soundtracks have always been brilliant. Even in the bad movies, most of the time you'll say, "Oh, but the soundtrack was great." You know, so I think because of that, I'm giving this to John Williams. That is my choice.
Terrible choice. Thank you so much for that one. It is interesting to me. I think off memory he's got the second most nominations or of anybody,
Mhm.
and Disney being number one all time. I don't think you give dude the Legacy Award this year, and at least the odds and prognosticators, which of course can be wrong, haven't been giving it to John Williams. I If that score to me was more spectacular, then maybe it would be an easier sell. I gotta say, they don't call it all music on the Western Front, do they? They call it all quiet on the Western Front. I know some people are picking that one, but the word quiet, I think, is going to throw a lot of these voters off. They're going to see that and be like, silent film? I can't go with that. Um, Babylon, dude has won before, and I think that it's going to get love here. The, there's a large group of folks who I think would have Babylon Best Picture, or at least giving it a lot of attention for its Hollywood loves movies that love Hollywood. And I think that this, the reason why gave Babylon the award here in production design, my assumption is it's kind of like a makeup award for a lot of folks, and it's a strong enough score that it could get enough votes on its own merit. But people know they're not going to vote for Babylon anywhere else. It's kind of got an underdog narrative in the Oscars of a movie that could have been great and very successful, but instead got a rap as a flop, and that might, in a way, help it in a category like this. So, I personally might go all quiet. I might go everything everywhere, but I got to put it down for Babylon in this category.
All right. Um, the Babylon soundtrack, and I even mentioned this to you when we were talking about the movie. It threw me off because it reminded me too much of La La Land. Like there were a lot of similarities in there,
But there's a reason, because this
yeah, I
is the
get it.
era that La La Land's referring to.
Yeah, no,
Dude's
I
doing
told
jazz.
no,
It's kind of his whole thing.
I totally get it. But it for me, it just didn't sound unique enough, you know, and I think that's what threw me off. Um, it was still great. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, the is it Hurwitz, Justin Hurwitz, right? Who
Yeah, Justin Hurwitz.
yeah, he's really good. But I think for me, it just wasn't unique enough. So otherwise, I would have definitely agreed with you on Babylon, but I think for me, I think if this is more of a bias, maybe because of John Williams. I think anytime John Williams has a chance to be recognized, I think he should, because he's just that prolific. He's just that good for me. All right, now we're on to the last column here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to costume design from here, so that we're going to work bottom up, so that we work our way towards the
Smart.
acting roles and all that stuff like that. So, in costume design, we have Babylon, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Miss Harris Goes to Paris, which is a movie I did not see in this category. But if I were to choose as far as costume design is concerned here, I think I will give this to Black Panther. I think Black Panther is one of the ones that will get nominated, and not only got nominated, but will win this award because um, if you watch the movie and you remember the movie, a lot of the costumes were very well done, well and representative of the cultures that they are representing. And I think that speaks a lot to a lot of people. You know, you had the Namor character who is very tied into a lot of the more Hispanic Latin cultures and all that they're representing. You have, of course, obviously everyone in Wakanda representing their own cultures and all that. So I and they've always done brilliant jobs with having that mix of representation in the outfits that they wear, the costumes they represent, and all that. And that's one thing Ryan Coogler is very good at too. He's very good at paying very close attention to all those type of details. So that's one of the reasons why this is my choice for costume design.
So Ruth Carter won for Black Panther, and it's the same name on the nomination as last time. And she was the first African American
Yep.
to win that award. It technically the this movie does do different things, and I think that's in her credit. And it's currently the Vegas favorite with Elvis as a close second. I personally would go Ruth Carter. I think I will probably kick myself on Sunday when you get that one and it clinches me for having to watch Midsommar as the punishment that we decided on. But I'm going Elvis here. It's a cynical pick. It's that my theory is people are going to be more hyped about Elvis and less hyped about Marvel movies. They already gave Ruth Carter the award. They got to feel good about themselves and they don't feel obligated to do that again. And I also think that while Black Panther, this is a year of movies that were successful in the box office. Elvis also has that narrative. So if this is one where it's kind of like Top Gun versus four movies that didn't make any money, you might give it to the box office Oscars.
Mhm.
Might give it to that one. The fact that both movies made good sums at the box office, and we've got that older white voter problem and the anti-Marvel bias, and just I'm suspicious about there being too much love for Elvis, so I'm going with that one.
Nice. All right. So that is going to be Elvis for Blake, Black Panther Wakanda Forever for me. All right, we're going to move on to the next category here, and that is cinematography. So in cinematography, we have All Quiet on the Western Front, Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of, what's the full title?
Truths.
Truths, that's
Yep.
it. Elvis, Empire of Light, and Tar. You want to take this one there, Blake?
Cinematography. The I believe it would be the first female winner if Elvis gets it. There's also the Deacons of it all with Empire of Light. Personally, I would go Tar. I also think it's interesting that Bardo isn't nominated in international, is nominated here. Um, all that to say, I've got to go All Quiet on the Western Front for cinematography. War movies get a little edge in this category, and that is one of the things about the movie that was particularly special. It's possible a few of these could get it. I wouldn't be surprised. To me, this is all another sneaky tough category. But part of what I'm going to do, and you'll see it as we go on, is I try to spread out which movies will win as we get to some of the higher awards. And I'm going All Quiet here and not in a couple other places. Um, but yeah, I do think this will be a year where we don't just see one movie clean up everywhere. I think movies that could have had a few big wins might all split it up with each other. It's just a gut thing, but I'm going All Quiet here.
All right. Um, you and I are going All Quiet on this one. I also agree, All Quiet. Again, I've said it before in other categories. The one thing that really stood out for me in with All Quiet was the cinematography. Was really the technical achievement they were able to do. Again, if you don't know anything about what I'm referring to, check out some of the behind the scenes videos that they put out for that movie in particular, and you will be just as amazed as I was with a lot of the stuff they've done and they were able to achieve on screen because of editing, the way they framed certain shots, the way that they put together the scenes and all that. Like, it is breathtaking what they did. And again, from a movie that doesn't have any major star except for one in a very small role, and for an international film too, like it's a lot of amazing stuff that they were able to accomplish here. And there's a reason why it's being recognized so much in this year's Oscars for that particular reason. Cool. Next category. This is always a fun one for me, and that is animated feature film. Animated feature film this year, we have Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red. Since this is a particular favorite of mine, I will go first here. Um, I was torn between two in this category, and that was Pinocchio and Marcel the Shell. Marcel the Shell was one of my favorite movies from last year. It made my top 10 because of how touching it was, how heartfelt and heartwarming and endearing. Like, just everything was just so, just really hit me in the feels with that movie. Especially for a character that I was not even familiar with. I was not familiar at all with the YouTube shorts until Blake mentioned it. And then after I watched the movie, I went back to watch those, and I was like, wow, it's amazing how I don't know how I missed those, but somehow it just passed by me. But then I saw Pinocchio, and Pinocchio, I love talking about technical achievements, and this was definitely a movie that had a lot of technical achievement. The fact that it took him 15 years to make this movie, and he's using the old stop motion animation, very painstakingly done, very detailed, and it has that Guillermo del Toro touch and feel to it all. The story itself was really well done. The writing, the way that you had your character building moments. We had a very very interesting look into Geppetto's life and how he's not the happy-go-lucky kind of guy that we're so used to in the Disney adaptation. How there's really a sense of emotion there. There's a sense of loss that he's suffering from, and how that depression seeped in, and all that stuff that really led to him building Pinocchio. And the journey of Pinocchio itself, I thought was very endearing and all that. So because of that and so much more, I had to give this, even though it hurts me, I had to give this to Pinocchio because, again, it was just such an accomplishing movie in so many fronts. Even though my own personal favorite will always still be Marcel the Shell, Pinocchio is the one that I think is definitely going to be recognized in this category this year.
You heard it here first. Renee hates Marcel the Shell and was right choice. One of my least favorite things every year when I try to watch all the Oscars, doing it this last week, is this category because there's usually a couple big duds. Sea Beast, dude, did you see it? We're not gonna get into it. I can't get into it. It sucked.
I I
So
tried
boring.
watching it. I tried watching it. I couldn't
Yeah,
sit through it.
so boring.
Yeah.
It's one of those. There's a couple others that could be here that, and it's Sea Beast for some reason. Anyway, my personal pick, definitely Marcel, maybe Last Wish, Puss in Boots, big surprises and fun time out. At the movies there, the correct guess is, and Turning Red too. A lot of love. Any other year that could be a surefire number one, not even close. But this
Yeah.
was a strong year for animation. There is a chance that I know everyone's going pure Pinocchio on every ballot I've seen. There's a chance that Pinocchio and Marcel split a little more than we would think, and and that a Turning Red or a Puss in Boots, but definitely, I think it would have to be Turning Red if it's not them. It's possible, but anyway, I got to go Pinocchio.
Nice. All right. So both of us are locked in for Pinocchio. Now we're getting to the good stuff, the major, major meat and bones of these categories. And first off, we're going to do actress in a supporting role. So, nominees within that category: Angela Bassett for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Hong Chau for The Whale, Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Sue for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Blake, what say you in this category?
This is another one of those toughies to me. For a long time, it seemed very smart to put Angela Bassett on this ballot. It seemed like it was guaranteed. There was too many award ceremonies where her name wasn't called. BAFTAs, it wasn't surprising, but then when you got to the SAGs, which to me is a place where you would see an Angela Bassett, someone who's been around a long time, big celebrity name, someone that folks would like to give credit to after her career. But you have a similar narrative there with Jamie Lee Curtis, other than the aspect where when we look at why Angela Bassett hasn't been nominated more, it's obviously for a different reason than Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis has been doing genre movies, whereas we know that Oscar's so white, and that's at least part of what kept Angela Bassett out of the Oscars. Nonetheless, my cynicism prevails. I'm going to say it's got to be Jamie Lee Curtis. When the crowd was so into her speech at the SAGs and has been into everything everywhere, and then she's doing the I say Michelle, you say yo call and response with the audience. I think Jamie Lee Curtis has too much momentum right now and is generally loved, whereas we aren't seeing that with Angela Bassett in the same way. So overall, I don't think Stephanie Sue and Jamie Lee Curtis split votes, which you often see in supporting. I don't think Stephanie Sue has that love. Her performance or her, both of those, I think, are a little too weak to make that a problem for Jamie Lee Curtis. I got to go Jamie Lee Curtis here.
All right. Well, that's it.
Especially the voting body is so much made of actors, so many, because those are a lot of the people in the Academy. That's another reason. Once she got SAG, I went Jamie Lee Curtis. Sorry for the hiccups, by the way.
That's okay. I feel your pain. I hate when that happens. No, and there's a huge part of me that agrees with you. For the longest time, when we were talking about these nominees, I hands down did not feel Jamie Lee Curtis deserved to be in this category. We talked about it multiple times. I'm like, you could have easily have replaced her name with somebody else. But then it's true. You are seeing a lot of love being, represented for her, especially when you saw the SAG Awards and all that stuff. Like, there's so much love for her in this category and for that movie. However, if you really just look at the merit and the performance, she was not, for me personally, one of the outstanding performances in that movie. You had Michelle Yeoh, you had Ki Hu Kwan, and then you had Stephanie Sue. Those are the three outstanding performances in that movie, with Jamie Lee Curtis like rounding out the four, right at the bottom.
And imagine a version where Ke Huy Quan goes main actor, and then the grandfather character goes supporting. Like that,
Oh,
there's a world where this movie just cleans up the top 6
absolutely.
awards. Would be
Yeah.
wild, but it's not unfathomable to imagine that alternate timeline.
No, for sure. And some should argue that why wasn't James Hong nominated, right? Especially,
That's what I'm saying. Ke
yeah,
Huy Quan could have been a main actor, and with this
absolutely.
category, it's a tough one this year, but he might be
Yeah,
the dude surprising everyone while folks are splitting both votes.
absolutely. No, I agree. Now, because of that same reason that you just said about splitting votes, I do believe like Carrie Condon has also been kind of thrown around a lot, and a lot of people have been kind of pushing
Yeah.
her and talking about her. So we could possibly see a scenario where Jamie Lee Curtis and Carrie split the votes, and we could possibly see the Angela Bassett win in this field. And I am gonna go with my gut and believe that that might be the case. And my selection is going to be Angela Bassett for a supporting role in this category. I won't hate it if Jamie Lee wins. Again, I will understand it, but I do feel like as far as performance goes, Angela's was the strongest performance out of these mentioned here in this category. She was the heart and soul of that movie, Black Panther. The fact that we already are suffering from the lack of Chadwick Boseman being in that movie. She took over that as far as impact in that movie. If it wasn't for her, that movie would suck. Really, totally suck, 100%. But she made that movie for the most of it, for most part. Now, there are other things in that movie I had issues with, but she was the most enjoying thing to watch in that movie, her performance as a whole. I also I love Hung Chau too, but the fact that she is being nominated for the Whale instead of like the Menu or something like that, that kind of like makes me kind of question. But if you put it as a combination of the two, then yeah, I could see why she was definitely nominated here. But for me personally, as far as strength of performance out of all of these nominees, I have to go with Angela Bassett in this category. So that is what I'm going with here.
I'm going to spend a little more time on this category. I think a couple of our other ones might be quicker, especially supporting actor. There's a few factors going on and why this one is so difficult. I also
Yeah.
think Carrie Condon is not a terrible pick. Something that's interesting to me here is for Angela Bassett, that is the odds favorite for Vegas. That said, there's two movies where there isn't, how do I put it? It's with betting odds, there's a movie that often has a negative number next to it, which is you'd have to bet that much to make $100. And then there's all the other movies that are plus. In this case of all the main awards, the two where there is no movie that is enough of a favorite to be in the minus. If you, Angela Bassett's the favorite, but if you put $100 on her, you get $130. Jamie Lee Curtis is right behind at 165, and Carrie Condon
Ooh.
is just behind that at 175. The others way out there. It's not even
Yeah.
close. Like doesn't look like they even have a shot. There's also the aspect, and the only other award where that's the case is the other one where Black Panther is a favorite for costume, and it's another so close type of situation with Black Panther at 100. Uh, you bet $100, you make $100. Elvis is right behind it at 110. So these are two where we're split, and both of them you're giving it to Black Panther, and I'm thinking racial bias and Marvel bias. I'm
Hmm.
going cynicism there. There's one other factor here, and it's a gender problem. The Oscars love it when women uglify themselves and go, "Oh, she's pretty, but she made herself ugly," and that was so wow. And it's something they've talked about before, where there was especially a stretch where there was jokes being made on stage by presenters or the people winning about this of like, if you just went through a huge transformation and are Charlize Theron, but then you show up in the movie Monster looking like that, and it happened. Historically, it's a thing that happens. I think the Jamie Lee Curtis aspect of that is interesting. We also have an aspect where we are sympathetic for her character. We're also definitely sympathetic for Angela Bassett's character because of what she goes through in grieving, but she pulls it off really well and with strength that the other characters are relying on in the movie. In Jamie Lee Curtis's character, it's the IRS agent, it's the nobody, she's frumpy. And I think that there's something that makes it easier to where folks are less intimidated by her character and it makes it easier to vote. So there's definitely ways in which this category deals with gender bias, racial bias, etc. Plus, again, my gut is saying that they're not going to go for the Marvel stuff. Now that Marvel isn't dominating the box office the way it used to, that might be changing. This might be a smart year to choose Black Panther for a couple of these. We'll see. But yeah, that's why all of that is kind of going into it for me. This is a very interesting and very tough one, according to Vegas and all the stuff we're going through right now.
No, for sure. And that's was something that we also said coming into this too, is that the actress in a supporting role category is probably the toughest one out of everything, because a lot of people mentioned here are very well deserving of it. But there was also a lot of people who were not mentioned at all. We thought could have easily have been nominated in this category as well. We won't get into that again. We talked a lot about that in the previous episode where we were doing our
Yeah.
reaction to the nominees, but very strong and again tough. So either one of us could be right, or we could be surprised and Carrie comes away with a win on here. So we don't know. But this is probably the tightest race, I think, in this category, which is, good to see, actually, to be honest with you, because again, it highlights the strength of female performers out there. And this is just scratching the surface. There's so many more great female performances from last year that, it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen come Sunday in this category for sure. But speaking of female actress, why don't we talk about the big one here? And that is actress in a
Mm,
leading role. So
mm,
the nominees
mm-mm,
are
mm-mm.
Kate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas for Blonde, Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, Michelle Williams for The Fablemans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So, do you want to do this in unison or do you want to
I
go
don't want to
first?
lock this in.
All right.
Unison. Do you think we're gonna have the same one? Okay. I kind of hope we take different ones.
All right.
I have a feeling we will. Three, two, one. Michelle
Michelle
Yeoh.
Yeoh.
Okay.
I thought so. I thought so.
Am I confident? No. Kate Blanchett, it's tough. I could see it going either way. My gut says Michelle Yeoh. To me, there's momentum there. There's a few, but really, at the end of the day, you're just looking for reasons why one would or wouldn't. So, someone, it's same we were talking about at the beginning of this episode, where because Kate's won before, maybe that makes her more likely. Because Michelle Yeoh's an underdog, maybe that makes her more likely. We don't know on this category. That'll be the one of the most holding your breath moments of the night to see how that goes. I can't. I love the movie Tar, and I don't want to make it one of those simple narratives. If Kate Blanchett wins, that will be disappointing, and my night will be ruined, and that's bad. Yes, it's not a great look if the Oscars keep making following similar patterns of their voting. That said, was Kate Blanchett's performance great? Yes, it absolutely was. Personally, I might, if I were given a ballot, I would have a very difficult time on this category because I'd have to go Andrea Riseborough for a movie I haven't fucking seen and no one else has either, unless you were invited to one of the screenings. I'm kidding. Obviously, to me, it'd be tough overall, especially the top two. This
Yeah.
is one of my favorites. If you're looking at odd stuff, like Andrea Riseborough is actually the third most likely, with Michelle Williams and
Third.
Ana de Armas, but they're both so far out there. Michelle Yeoh minus 180, Kate Blanchett plus 125. So currently Michelle's the favorite, which wasn't the case for the longest time.
True.
Kate Blanchett was cleaning up earlier in the awards.
Mhm.
Then we go from 125 to 2,900 for Andrea Riseborough, and worse from there for Michelle Williams, and then on de Armas. So tough one. This will be it's neck and neck. Has been the pretty much the whole time, ever since Michelle Yeoh started winning anything. It's just been felt very back and forth. I think Kate Blanchett didn't play things in a way that would keep her as a favorite. Speeches she gave, at some point even saying we shouldn't even be having these awards from a stage, which is a hell of a thing to say, but bless her for speaking her mind. Who doesn't disagree that the politics and horse race of it all and the campaigning is just bizarre? What a way to
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
I think in some ways, partially, she's almost hoping Michelle Yeoh wins, and that's kind of, well, at the very least, she's ambivalent about whether or not I don't think Kate Blanchett will be mad if Michelle Yeoh wins, and they've also been showing each other love the entire
Hmm.
season. So if people want to pit two women against each other, and if you're for this person, you're bad. If you're for that person, and she will look at her giving her side eyes and doing that weird thing, and the look that this person gave when they lost, and they must have beef behind it, like all that shit. I don't care. I won't let this category ruin my night. I'm rooting for Michelle Yeoh. I might pick Kate Blanchett on a ballot, but on here, I'm putting Michelle Yeoh as my prediction for who will win on Sunday.
All right. Um, I was championing Kate Blanchett for a very long time after I saw Tar. When I saw Tar, even in my review on this channel, I said, I guarantee you, not only will she be nominated, but she will win. I still believe that. However, the importance of Michelle Yeoh being
You
nominated and
believe she'll
winning.
win still? You're saying?
No,
I feel like you
why?
locked it in after
You know,
seeing Tar.
Blake, there's a reason why you have to listen when I'm talking because I'm because there's a point I'm trying to make. um, but and it's just one of those things where you strongly feel about something when you see it immediately, like your reaction immediately afterwards. Like my reaction to Tar was just the movie was phenomenal. Her acting is phenomenal. There's no way anyone could top her acting in this year. And I still feel that. I feel like her performance in Tar was the strongest performance last year. However, the importance of Michelle Yeoh being nominated and the importance of her career and being recognized, I think outweighs Kate Blanchett's performance. Now, I don't like, and we talked about this multiple times and all that stuff like that about legacy and messaging and all that stuff like that. But I think in this case, this is very important because they're finally recognizing someone who has never been recognized at all, and she's had a very strong career, and she's done so many things. Easily she could have been recognized for previous movies like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or whatever the case is. Like she's had so many good stuff in the past. Her achievement as an action star, the things that she put her body through with a lot of these movies that she's made in Hong Kong and all that stuff, things that not even the Academy would recognize at all during those years. She has done so much. So the fact that she's finally being recognized here to the American audience, to an audience that maybe most of them did not know about her body of work until now because of all the buzz about her and all that stuff. I think it's very important for her to walk away with this. And that's why I'm choosing her to win this category because again, the message and the representation is extremely important here. And I think it's well overdue. Yeah, Kate Blanchett has already been recognized in the past, and I'm sure she's going to get recognized again moving forward. It's kind of like the whole not Diane Keaton, but who's the other actress that always seems to get recognized every year?
Meryl
my
Streep.
God, Meryl Streep. That's it. Yeah, she's like it's like a Meryl Streep situation, right? It's like every time Kate Blanchett can do something, she'll be recognized for that for sure. But Michelle, this may be her one and only chance. I wish I didn't have to say that. I wish I could say that she's going to have multiple chances again now from this point. But who's to say? This could be her one shot here. I'm hoping that this will lead to more stuff for her, but I think it has to start somewhere, and I think now is a good time for this to finally be the case for her. So yeah, Michelle Yeoh, Best Actress. Cool.
Nominated again.
Oops, are you all right?
You're predicting that Michelle Yeoh's gonna? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, you are totally frozen. All right.
Well,
as Blake is fixing up his connection there, let us move into next category, and that is actor in a supporting role. So the nominees in actor in a supporting role, we have Brendan Gleeson for Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry in Causeway, Judd Hirsch for The Fablemans, Barry Keoghan for The Banshees of Inisherin, and Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Blake, do we have you back? I'm just checking.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. All right, awesome.
Okay, cool. If anyone heard my joke earlier, I am so sorry. I was being ornery and I was just curious how Rene would react. We'll skip it for now. Going Ke Huy Quan for this one. Absolutely. I repeated it 3 times, and every time I was like, oh gosh, oh no reaction. Ke Huy Quan for supporting. The odds are hilarious when you look at this one. It's not even close. It's gotta be, or else we might see the Dolby Theater, wherever they're filming it, we might see it burn down. The fact that 2 and 3 are both Banshees dudes who should be splitting votes, and then Judd Hirsch and Brian Tyree Henry are rounding out those odds. It's got to be Ke Huy Quan. He's won everything everywhere.
Not all at once, but definitely it could have been all at once.
Yeah, over a series of many weeks in a long, grueling award season. Yeah.
Right.
But you're going to put someone other than Ke Huy Quan, right? Please?
Oh, yeah. I'm going with Brian Tyree Henry on this one because, again, someone who's never been recognized, has done a lot. And Causeway, he was so... No, come on. Kihi
Did you
Kwan.
see Causeway?
I did.
I finally watched it. Okay, yeah. Part of my binge has been another thing I put off is all the movies that look miserable and unpleasant that I don't want to watch when I'm
Yeah.
trying to have fun, which is most nights. I normally don't choose to be miserable. It wasn't
Mhm.
as miserable as I thought it would be. I thought it was more of the To Leslie situation, which I think is like an alcoholism or drug addiction thing. So still putting that one off until we get closer. And hopefully I run out of time. We'll see. But yeah, Brian Tyree Henry, I think it was good. I'm not sure it's his best work. I think we'll see him nominated again in the future, and we might see him a multiple Oscar winner possibly. But yeah, not his year. It's Kiwi all the way.
Yeah, no, no. Brian definitely has a lot of his career left for him to be recognized for the roles he's going to play in the future. I was just happy that he was finally recognized for something. I feel like he's like
Yeah,
kind of been like long overdue, in my opinion. And I do
yeah.
feel like his performance in Causeway was actually very strong, stronger than Jennifer Lawrence. Like I thought he stole that movie away from her, and she was like the
She
top
did a
billing.
great job staring blankly into the camera. It was really impressive. If that was an
the brooding,
award,
the brooding,
the
kind of
Kristen
staring glance.
Stewart
Yeah,
Award, yeah,
that should be a category like one of those like separate like indie spirit awards or something like that. Like, who does the best brooding, staring into the camera?
the numbest acting. Yeah,
Yeah, no, but for me, I am also going with Ki Kwan. Again, that was a sure shot for me, and I probably will end up being the best speech of the night, because of his
yeah.
energy and his excitement. He's just going to bring a lot of like fun to the awards show there. All right, moving into actor in a leading role. So we have Austin
Same
Butler,
time.
Elvis, Colin Farrell, Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Bill Nighy for Living. Did you want to do this at the same time? You want to announce this at the same time too?
Yeah, we have to. This is another toughie.
Okay.
This is to me one of the most competitive ones.
All right.
Odds, people talking about it, people being anxious picking it. We got to do it
All
for
right.
actor and actress.
All right. Three,
Okay,
2,
two,
1. Bill
one.
Nighy.
Brendan Fraser, Bill Nye, living. What you bastard?
No, it's Brendan Fraser. Of course, it's Brendan
You think
Fraser.
so?
Yeah,
It's not an of course friend. It's a
I
this
think
is Brendan
I
Fraser and
personally think it
Austin
is.
Butler are neck and neck.
Yeah.
Austin Butler's been winning a lot. Brendan Fraser's been winning somewhere it counts. Bill Nye is at a plus 8,000 on the betting. If you bet
Ooh,
$100 on Bill Nye and he gets it, you get $8,000. So hear me out.
put all your money
That
on there right now.
basically means it's not going to happen. He might not get one vote out of the thousands of people. I personally am going Brendan Fraser because of the Hollywood of it all, and he's been around. The story there, he's been in box office success, and this is a good year for that. Whereas Austin Butler, while he's been winning a lot, I I just don't have faith that that one's going to have the legs to get him over the finish line. With the accent of it all, he's young, he's kind of unproven. He's given some good speeches, but he's given some kind of weird speeches. Um, I don't think that's helped him necessarily, and I think we've seen Brendan Fraser gain momentum during that time. Not too dissimilar from Kate Blanchett, totally different types of speeches, but overall, I think, again, it's one of those they love it when you go ugly. Austin Butler kind of does Fat Elvis at the end. Brendan Fraser does a lot of sweaty acting all throughout The
Yeah.
Whale. It was one of those that was hard to watch, and I do think that actually helps when your performance is so good. It's hard to watch what he's going through and suffering. I think that you give it to Brendan Fraser, especially because that movie embodies, in some ways, the suffering of his career and his own personal trials. It's not for the same reasons as what the character is going through in the movie, but I think that plus it's a movie that was pretty successful at the box office, kind of like The Menu, a low key, sneaky indie movie that actually made good money. A lot of folks saw it, and this movie isn't going to get anything anywhere else. It doesn't seem like at all. So I'm going Brendan Fraser for those reasons, but Vegas has them real damn close to each other, with Brendan Fraser technically right now the favorite.
Mhm. Um, yeah, I think with Brendan's Fraser, obviously it was a big transformation for his role there, and what a comeback story as well. I feel like when you have those two factors involved, it's just one of those things where you just have so much of a story to tell there. I think Austin Butler was amazing in his full on transformation into Elvis, where he was very believable. And we saw it from people who would comment, on our review, and we talked about it, like how many people really enjoyed his performance in that movie. Um, but I just think, again, the momentum is too strong, in my opinion, for Brendan. And it would be kind of weird, too, where you have someone that's been talked about for so long and who seems to be getting a lot of the attention and then just doesn't get anything at the big stage. I don't think he would care, to be honest. Like, it seems like he's just happy to be part of the process, and he's like not really, he's playing the humble role very well right now. um and I think Austin Butler, I think he has, again, a lot of his career left to prove himself over and over again. And I'm very curious as to what his next role would be, like leading role. I know he's going to be like in Dune and all that stuff like that, but I mean like main leading role where he's like carrying a film by himself. It'll be really interesting to see where he goes from here. But I think for Brendan, this is a year because, again, it just caps off a great comeback story. And you're right, like the things that he went through in the movie, in a way, kind of mirror like his career and what he had to go through in a lot of different ways. Um, so for me, Brendan Fraser for sure is the clear cut winner here. I will be honestly shocked if he doesn't win. You
Really?
will, yeah, you will literally see
Let
me
me
express that on camera.
let me give you a little fact though, because I'm just looking through Best Actor
Yeah.
recent history. This narrative kind of changes about 20 years ago, but in the last 18 Oscars, 10 of those have been for people. Best Actor winners have been for people playing real people in these biopic type movies. Last year, Will Smith, King Richard. Before that, no. Anthony Hopkins and Joaquin Phoenix. Then Rami Malek playing Freddie Mercury. The year before that, Gary Oldman playing Winston Churchill. Skip Casey Affleck. Leonardo DiCaprio technically played a real guy, so that's actually makes it another one. We won't count that. Eddie Redmayne in The Theory of Everything, and he's had a couple nominees, so maybe yeah, no, that's the one where he's playing Stephen Hawking. Okay, Matthew McConaughey, Dallas Buyers Club, Daniel Day Lewis, Lincoln, Skip, Jean de Ward, I forgot how to say his name, the artist, Colin Firthin playing an actual king in King's Speech, Skip one, Jeff Bridges, Sean Penn for playing Harvey Milk, Skip Daniel Day Lewis, Forrest Whitaker for playing one in The Last King of Scotland. Before that, Philip Seymour Hoffman in Capote. Before that, Jamie Foxx in Ray. It's just so damn many. I'm looking, and then before that, it's a long time before you can find another one of those. So at some point, something changed where that just kept happening. Um, if I didn't say Jamie Foxx and Ray, but that was 2004. That's a lot of that shit. I'm honestly tired of it, and maybe this is the year people are fed up with it, and that narrative changes, or maybe this is just a coincidence that the performance and the actor weren't strong enough because a lot of those are super famous dudes playing other super famous dudes. I am so tired of that narrative where Renee Zellweger wins for decently playing Judy Garland just because people love Judy Garland. They know her and they go, oh, that was convincing. She did a good imitation. Acting to me shouldn't be as much about imitation as when someone creates someone from whole cloth. Lydia Tarr creating a famous person from scratch is to me way more impressive than Rami Malek putting in some fake teeth and doing a worse version of Freddie Mercury. I'm so tired of seeing that cosplay winning in this award. But so if you want a reason to go Austin Butler, the fact that he's so close and that's the history here is really makes me want to choose it. And it's one of those I even while we're going through, you already know I almost moved my check mark. I'm sticking with Brendan Fraser. This won't be the category you beat me on. That's all I know for sure. At least we'll both lose it together when it goes to Austin Butler.
It's yeah, and I totally understand that history involved in all that stuff, and I agree. There is unprecedented the amount of times that that has been recognized in that aspect in that regards. However, in my personal opinion, even though Austin Butler was really good in this role, I don't think he holds water to those previous people you mentioned as far as
Yeah,
performances. I think if you put him
that might be
in
the
that
problem. Yeah,
yeah, if you put him in that year, in this category with those other people, oh no way. Like he would not be talked about as highly as those other people for sure. Um, if this year was not as strong as it was, and you didn't have like Brendan Fraser involved, then yeah, I could totally see Austin Butler like walking away with this. But I just don't think it was as strong as what we've seen in the past. Not saying it wasn't good, just not as strong as stuff like that. So, but who knows? We could be totally wrong. It will be completely surprised. And you, like I said, you will see me completely shocked on camera for sure come Sunday.
no, not me. I'm gonna be sitting there just looking over at you like I knew it.
But we are now down to the final category here, the mother of it all, the one with all the marbles on the table, and that is Best Picture. Best Picture, the nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. All right. Before we go into art picks and all that stuff like that, it should be mentioned that this is one of the years where they definitely tried to recognize what the box office said. And, you know, that's why we see things like Top Gun Maverick in here, Avatar: The Way of Water, because again, the importance of the general populace and what people actually went out to go watch. And this has been like something that the Oscars have been trying to improve on and trying to get more people to view the award show, to get more involvement with, you know, not just like the cinephiles and the movie buffs like you and I, but to get more people's eyes on the awards program and all that. Especially now with the new academy, with the change in that voting body, that there is going to be more recognition to more of, you know, the popular films that were enjoyed by most people of the previous year. So it's nice to see that. It's still a long ways to go. I think there's still more to be done about all of that stuff. There could be an argument that's made that maybe because of that, where people are voting for one way and maybe voting another way, that it could cancel each other out, and we may end up seeing one of these major blockbuster films win, like a Top Gun Maverick, an Avatar: The Way of Water. Maybe more so Top Gun Maverick. I feel like that's been a lot of the buzz I've been hearing that could, if like that could be the sleeper hit that runs away in this category, because everyone's expecting Everywhere Everywhere, maybe an All Quiet on the Western Front, you know, who knows? Maybe a Fablemans, because a lot of people in Hollywood really enjoyed that movie. Um, but in my opinion, I think at the end of the day, and I'll go with my pick, it's going to go to Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that is the movie that's going to run
Interesting.
away with this category. Um, and I think it's, you know, it's one of those things where if this movie does not clean up in all of the other categories, this might be the category that it will definitely walk away with. I could be completely wrong here, but I do
Hmm.
feel like the momentum this movie has had mostly throughout the more recent award ceremonies, is kind of helping it, carrying it to the finish line of the Oscars. However, I will preface by saying this: I will not be shocked if a
Hmm.
Top Gun Maverick walks away in this category. If Top Gun Maverick wins this category, I will not be surprised one bit. Why? Because I have seen some of the big Hollywood, you know, people in the know and all that stuff saying that they want Top Gun Maverick to win because it will be an accomplishment, an achievement for Hollywood, you know, to recognize one the best performing movie of all of last year. Plus, what we mentioned before, where you have Steven Spielberg praising Tom Cruise and what they did with Top Gun Maverick for saving cinema's ass and saving Hollywood's ass, right? I forget what the real quote is, but basically for saving the industry last year. And who knows? It could get rewarded because of that, right? But I'm still going and sticking to my guns with
Isn't
everything
it
everywhere all
more
at once.
interesting if you pick Top Gun? Shouldn't you do that? Don't you think that you owe it
It
to
would be interesting, especially
your
since
gut,
Top Gun was my favorite
to
movie
the
of last
fans?
year. Yeah, but no, I'm
Imagine if
sticking to with
that's how you
everything.
beat me and take. Are you sure, Renee?
I'm sure. I'm positive. Why? What is
Well,
your
that
selection?
means neither of us are picking everything everywhere. I'm going with Weird, the Al Yankovic story for Best Picture. To me, it was a special movie. Daniel Radcliffe. What's? Are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love that movie. That movie was really good. I really
So
enjoyed it.
good,
Yeah.
so good. What a special movie! I was so surprised. I was pleasantly.
I
What a
I
treat!
I kept saying I wish it wasn't on the Roku channel. I wish that was on Netflix or Amazon because more people need to watch that movie. It's so good.
If the Academy really loved movies, they would ship a copy of a DVD and a DVD player to everyone's home of Weird, the Al Yankovic story. What a great movie! I'm going
Yeah.
with Everything Everywhere All at Once. Obviously, I do think I never like to get my hopes up, especially if it's a personal favorite, especially if it feels like the world will be a better place. Usually, the Oscars leave me feeling that the world is a worse place. Every now and then, we get the surprise. We get the La La Land enveloped, taken away, and given to Moonlight. I think this is the year Everything Everywhere All at Once wins. I have to assume that. That's what Vegas says. That's what the predictors are saying. Banshees of Inisherin is the second most. This is all Vegas stuff. Banshees is second most likely. All Quiet third most. Then Top Gun and Fablemans are tied for fourth on just the betting odds. I but even the second place isn't very close. You have to bet $700 to win $100 at Vegas right now. Banshees is second place. If you bet 100, you get 1,100. It's not close. Everything has been winning everywhere where it shouldn't have been winning, where people were predicting against it. The place where people said if it wins at the PGAs, that would be a shock, and then it wins at the PGAs, and Top Gun doesn't win there. If Top Gun was going to win anywhere, and if the Fablemans were going to win anywhere, it would have been DGAs, PGAs, and that wasn't happening. So for that reason, I got to go Everything Everywhere. It only makes sense, and if it doesn't happen, fuck, I might. That's one of those where I will actually be properly disappointed. This was a great year. There are a lot of great nominees here. There's movies that we've talked about throughout the year in other episodes, and that we didn't get into today as much. Most of these nominees I genuinely loved or had a great time at the movies watching them.
Mhm.
It's one of the few years where I've seen every Best Picture nominee already and didn't put any of them off just because that one didn't look that good. Like this was a special year for movies and the Oscars and the ones that people are recognizing and are successful. I think that means it's the year for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
No,
Top
definitely.
prize.
And I'm with you too. Like this was the first year that I can remember that I watched all the Best Picture nominees
Yeah.
before they were announced in their nominations and all that. Like I think you and I were just like on that same page. We were like, we knew we had to see this movie. We knew we had to see this movie. I
Yep.
was anticipating this movie and all that stuff. Everything Everywhere was one of those where it just shocked us. Like we weren't sure as to what it was going to be, but the trailer enticed us enough. And then when we
Mm-hmm.
finally saw it, we're like, "Oh my god. Like that's it. Like that's hands down this was the movie, right?" And all that. And we couldn't stop talking about it and all that. But every nominee in this category deserves to be here because each one of them is a really like great time at the theater, great movie, great story. Even though All Quiet I didn't see in the theater, but I saw at home. But still, I could only imagine what would have happened if I saw it in the theater. Like really great experience I could imagine. So everything was really well deserved here. And again, any other given year, any one of these could have easily have won. But I think, like, yeah, I agree with you. Everything Everywhere All at Once is the movie to beat, I think, at the end of the day. Um, what do you all think? That is pretty much all of our predictions right there. You could see it on the screen. This is my sheet right here. You got Blake's sheet right there. It'll pop up in just a minute, but we are locked in and we are ready and all set with our nominees and our predictions and all that stuff in our Oscar ballots this year. What are your selections? If you stuck with us for this 3 hour stream, um, whether you're watching live or in a replay, what are your predictions going into Sunday? Let us know in the comments. Let us know if you agree with us, if you agree with one of us, or you think we're both really dumb and we're all far off. Then let us know about that too. We like to be humbled from time to time. But with all that being said, we're going to call it a night for this episode and this special stream. Blake, where can people find you online?
Go to Letterboxd. Search members, last name Wolf. 3 words, no punctuation. Common spelling for all 3 words, last name Wolf, because I'm Blake Wolf. That's it. Yeah, that's all I got.
I was waiting. Like, was there like a capper to that, or like? No, that's it. That's yeah. And you can see on the screen there. For myself, I'm also on Letterboxd. I'm still new to the platform, even though I've been aware of it for a while. But I'm actually logging all my movies that I'm watching every week there now.
Yes.
So definitely check me out. And definitely check out Blake because he has some great lists as far as movies are concerned. So definitely check that out. But main important thing, LOWKEY GEEK, Twitter, Instagram, most importantly here on Facebook. Again, if you haven't done so yet, please hit that like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that notification bell to get notified every time a new video is posted or when we go live, especially this Sunday for the Oscars when we're going to do our live reaction and commentary to the program. So definitely hang out with us. It'll be a lot of fun. And you get to see like who predicted the most out of all the categories there for sure. But with all that being said, this has been Movie Time. I've been Rene. That's been Blake. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Don't forget, check us out. If you want an audio version of this podcast platform of choice, just type in LOWKEY GEEK there and you could download this episode. But until Sunday, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. We'll catch you all then. All right. Peace out, everybody.